baseball stadium, and it's just like most people didn't even know that was going on. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's the key takeaway here. And we've already seen the majority of respondents did not
Yeah, when
have
you
an
have your,
opinion yet on the mayor. So I'm just gonna focus on mayor right now, and then we could sidebar with some of the other issues.
yeah, write the story mainly about mayor, and then you can decide whether you want to have it be a breakout later on something else, or you could just add it into that, or what. Breakout might be good just to get more headlines.
We're just a little short today for breakout. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see that fire?
Yeah, we're streaming it.
Where is it?
I-37 and Southton Road. It's down here on the kind of south to southeast side.
Well, what firefighters say is true. In 1 second, that's going to be 100 yards long.
It's not good.
It's not good at all.
There's some homes near there.
Two line across all, yes. Beautiful fire.
Going into
ask her later, you know?
See me and you right here. We do the same thing.
AJ, are you part of the 401k here?
Yes.
That snack table was ultimately paid for by the 10 shareholders, and that's you. So
Oh,
don't worry about it.
so I paid for it. There you go.
Still trying to pay their diesel website. Come on. Way past time.
What'd you think of the Oscars? Oh, I didn't watch. I don't. No, I mean I saw the performances afterwards and everything was good, but I don't. I still feel weird about all the awards that Amelia Perez got.
Mm.
Because everyone's been talking so much about it, even
Yeah.
though I haven't seen it yet.
Jean's on backpack 5.
Yeah, Alyssa said she was happy.
Or is going to be.
Mm.
Hi.
Try it out.
Hey,
Good.
Jean.
How are you?
Good. I have time whenever you do to look at your project.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Just grab it.
You sound good. Sounds good. I'll come by and get you.
That means you gotta keep these long.
Did y'all already talk about the Brightwell post fail?
Yeah, the Instagram one.
I
I saw
didn't work
that.
with him, but
So the Instagram one failed. I tried it again. I thought maybe it was the link in there. The link on Facebook ended up as a string of code. It posted to Facebook,
Right.
but when you had the brightwell.org, it was like a whole string of code. So I just took that out of the Instagram one and tried to reschedule it,
Yeah.
and then it failed again.
I think it's because of the link. That one's a little bit longer, so it's probably trying to turn it into a reel. They just expanded reels to be 3 minutes. That one's only 3.5.
No, I put up 6-minute videos all the time. Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening.
I think it's still trying to do. So here's what we
We can kill the link if you want.
cannot destructure property active. Perfect
I have
set.
no idea.
No idea what that is.
I mean, if we need to kill the link, we can, to Greg's point, go and think about that /.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I already did. See, so I went in and it allowed me to edit it and then reschedule it, and then it failed again. So I took all the leaks stuff out, and then I was gonna just go back in and add it back in, had it posted.
Right.
But then it still didn't post.
So they're even like that in person?
Yeah.
Huh.
Right. This is the one that got the second error message. The first error message just said failed.
I wonder if it's the file itself.
Do you want to try, like, is it in a folder somewhere? Like, can I just try to, like, listen to the right,
I
because
can
it's on Facebook, it made it on Facebook.
Okay.
So
Well,
maybe
if
I
you
can
want,
try
so
directly.
I think I sent you guys the Vimeo link. You should have been able to connect to that video link.
Oh, I
You can
will.
download the same feature there.
Okay, I'll try that and then directly with you. You just want this as a horizontal?
Yeah, because you know if you post it on your phone, it does that weird thing with like the black box.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, if you look at my email, I'll find info.
okay, I'll try it that way.
Okay, let me know. That's interesting.
It's like one of the only times I
Yeah.
just take it
Well,
off.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Please feel free to run it and I'll see if I have that.
Absolutely. Okay, great.
Thank you.
and you,
Yes.
once we get more info about the fire, we're gonna need to build up the story.
Yeah.
And I've already got the stream, so that can be put into the story.
Gotcha.
There's some photos in the thread, we just don't have a lot of detail other than this location.
Okay.
I'll begin a draft for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff to kind of start
It's fine too now.
No, that's not a problem, yeah.
What, the wildfire danger? Oh. Yeah.
What's that?
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Has
Big one.
Isaac said anything lately? Fat Isaac. A little.
Wildfires are so scary. Because you don't know when they're going to start.
Right.
Wow. It just looks like creepy. Oh, you could hot switch it over to.
Yeah. Danny, is Gene good for me to take his shot? I'm just gonna put him in. He'll be up either in a single or a double box.
He'll be up. He'll be live. Don't say anything in trouble. All right, who's trying on that John video?
The answer,
Oh, wow.
you know, I mean, he's not gonna do anything
Ugh.
crazy right now. I'm just gonna go ahead of him. I wanna get these flames while he's getting them.
Tell him to hold the cap. Hold the top. Tell him to hold the top.
Just let him know as soon as you can. saw. I took him down as soon as I saw it.
Everything I'm hearing on the scanner, I'm sharing with Ken that what we're getting at, if you can get anything, maybe visually go to those areas where the traffic time, homes that are being evacuated by
I'll hand it back over.
the apartment complexes.
Yeah, at least I've got the transguide, so I can always fall back to that.
He's gonna need help.
I feel like we should push something out quick.
We need that evacuation order.
Was it confirmed or not?
I see it on my weather app as well, but I don't see the location of specifically who should evacuate.
Oh, I see. Fire warning issued until.
It came through my Weather Channel app, and it just says, Bear County Office of Emergency Management, wildfire spreading rapidly in the area, evacuate area immediately and avoid until further notice. But it doesn't see what area it's talking about.
Yeah,
It
mine
has
came through this.
latitude and longitude on there, but I don't know that.
From KView.
Was it? Oh.
But see, I get like through KView, I get like the automated ones. So it sent us an automated one.
Your app. So the Ken's app probably sent something for people
Yeah,
who receive those ones.
Yeah,
I don't get those.
but when I click on it, nothing happens.
All right.
We could add that though. A fire warning was issued until, but you're right, it doesn't say the location.
Why don't we say the Bear County Office of Emergency Management was calling for an evacuation in proximity to the fire, exact location of that evacuation. We're trying to determine the exact location of that. But hey dummy, if it's smoky outside where you are.
Right. If you see or smell smoke.
The Southside residents should be alert to
Evacuation in vehicle. But it just doesn't go anywhere. When I click on it, it just doesn't do anything.
I'm sure you can
It took me to a thing, but it doesn't give location.
Northeast of 601 Ballfield, across the lower lane, units responding. Valley 501, said 80 miles an hour, development cancel that.
I copy.
Peter cancel. We're on Workbox and Babcock. Turning on Babcock. Peter cancel. Yeah, but I thought you said all units cancel, return to the city. Dispatch, you can notify SCPD.
SCPD has to have it. I copy.
Attach me. Attach SCPD, see what they have any county assets in the area. See if 577, where you at? To assist with traffic.
Valley 577, you know already how it's standing on foot? Been able to check that area, are you able to pull away?
There's smoke first. Left down, back on. We're smoking it, there's no trouble.
Hey, Valley, be advised. Copy. I copy, one and complete, 1248.
What's your location? Great, I can hear you. I'm not sure, but I'll...
I copy. I copy, do you need medical?
Medical and Babcock. You can start firing EMS over here.
I copy. Can you take this medical? Bravo 31, go ahead.
Bear County emergency.
Strike road.
I copy.
130, are you able to get somebody to stop traffic? Do we have somebody still pursuing somebody on foot? Or can we cancel that?
Yeah, Valley, do we have any Can we do scripture? 1360 code. Structure fire, pulling bolt at 152.
Yes, sir.
digital.
Yeah.
Sue is with Gene. Look at his feed.
I went away from his feed because he's pushing back old content right now. But we'll go back to it in a minute.
So, look at his feed. She's gonna stand in front of his camera, and she's gonna record a vertical, basically something you can send out, like a live report, a little live report, okay? So that's coming.
Thank you.
She has to do it that way because nothing else is working out there.
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah.
We're sending Mike with the
We
Starlink.
can, yeah, we can crop it. I'll take her.
Um,
Who's calling?
yeah, they need to let us know before, so we can capture it on, are we rolling, I assume
We're rolling in bin
Bit Central.
but I do wanna split it so the file's not too big.
Yeah. You might wanna split it soon, just to have a start point for it.
Yes, perfect timing. She just stepped in front, I split it, and she just stepped in front of it.
Nice.
Oh my god, her hair
captured her on the dead center.
Okay.
Put that into,
I'm about to export it right now.
Okay. If we had Brian come over here and start talking under the live pictures on digital streaming, talking about where it is and wind speed, yeah?
Did you see Kate's
I was surprised, it's a 2 hour
They're cut in?
They rotated.
Yeah.
8 to 10.
okay.
Yeah, a second. Be prepared, Dave.
I'm gonna sign it. Emojis. I was waiting, I was like, God, where's the please? Something totally different.
No, I'm not a fan. No, I just wanted to look at it. Oh my gosh.
Now you want to know what it is?
You went live. All right, Greg. Jack told me. Um, let's see.
You know, when I get home,
Um,
watch that 7
don't launch it. Is this already live?
This is live right now, so don't.
Can you turn off my mic?
And when you go
Yeah.
back, you see all the stuff that you missed.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are live here on KENS 5 Digital, KENS 5 platforms to talk to you about a lot of things happening. That includes a wildfire in southeast San Antonio. And this is all part of an environment, an atmosphere that's favorable for wildfires at the moment. We've been talking about it the last 48 hours. Matter of fact, we have a red flag warning in effect until tonight at 9 o'clock. But the thing is, with wind speeds kind of fluctuating between now, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, I think this will be a concern, not just for this week, but for the upcoming spring season as well. The thing is, drought has been bad. We're in extreme drought. And when we take a look at the drought monitor in just a little bit, we'll take a look at how bad it is across Bexar County, the Hill Country. And remember, we're just rebounding off winter. And with that in place, the grass, the vegetation so dry from the winter season. And then when you bring in strong winds from the west, northwest at about 20, 30 miles an hour, that's a recipe for disaster, specifically wildfires around San Antonio and around South Texas. Just want to make sure audio is working A-OK before we get started. Just want to check out the live stream. And it sounds like things are okay at the moment, and it looks good. Looks good. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to comment down below. Join the conversation. We're talking all things fire, weather, wildfires across the area, specifically southeast San Antonio, and details along those as well. But yeah, take a look, guys. These are sustained wind speeds around San Antonio, 30, 37 at Rock Springs, 36 at Del Rio. So these are favorable wind speeds that, if embers start from one fire, can jump from spot to spot. Now, we were talking about the fire that's in southeast Bexar County, and with these winds from the west, I think anywhere in, let's say, Karnes County towards Wilson County, Guadalupe County, will need to be on high alert, because where the fire is located now in South Bexar County, some of those embers can transport farther east towards Seguin, towards Floresville, towards Gonzales, towards Hallettsville with these west-northwest winds. And the thing is, these wind speeds, they're dry. They're not coming in from the southeast, from the Gulf. They're coming in from the west, and that's a very dry wind. That's favorable. That's conducive for fire weather danger here in the area. And again, guys, if you have any questions, comment down below. We're talking all things fire weather. This is the scene right below me, and then to my left and your right, you're seeing current conditions out there right now. So those are sustained wind speeds, but take a look at some of the wind gusts. These are what's causing a problem. Remember, vegetation's dry. Drought is extreme. The wind speeds are gusting near 40 miles an hour. To put into perspective, a tropical storm, for example, the threshold for a tropical storm is 39 miles an hour, and we're seeing those kind of gusts at the airport. In Bernie at 41, 45 at Fredericksburg, 45 at Rock Springs. It is windy out there. It's sunny, that's the good news, but again, we haven't seen much rain, and with this kind of environment in place, it's only going to be conducive for more additional wildfires that pop up, and we will have updates in just a little bit on that wildfire in southeast San Antonio and how it's impacting our area as well. Not sure what's going down the street. Trucks just drove by heading further down. Sarah, where is that at exactly? Right by the fire. Fire contained here, and everything is out watering back area and where the fire was. Fire is now mainly across the street, blowing away from our neighborhood. Yeah, Sarah, are you seeing the smoke? Are you seeing the haze in the sky? That's really good details, though. I appreciate that, Sarah. So again, extreme fire danger, elevated fire conditions. This is going to be a problem, not just again today, but I think periodically through the weekend. Because while wind speeds will come down a little bit tomorrow, I think they ramp back up Thursday and Friday from a different direction. But anytime we have cold fronts driving in, that can cause a concern for fire danger. So please avoid any outdoor burning. Strong winds, dry air, low humidity may contribute to extreme fire weather behavior. This is kind of the environment that is the most favorable for this happening. Also, do not throw lit cigarettes out the window. Do not park or drive over tall grass. I was talking to one of the fire marshals in Bexar County today, and he mentioned that your car, the engine, the catalytic converter, the bottom of your car, especially trucks, those temperatures could reach, 900 degrees at your car. And then grass that's already dry from the winter season, it doesn't take much friction, much heat to spark off little embers here and there over tall grass areas, especially along the highway. That can certainly provide problems, concerns, and again, grass fires can spark in the area as well. There are residents trying to put out the fire from Omar. Omar, do you have any video, photos? Send that to KENS. You can do it through news@kens5.com. That's the best way to do it. If you can send in photos and videos, that'd be great, dude. That'd be wonderful, Omar. Please do that. News@kens5.com. Photos or videos from anything you're seeing. We'll try and feature that on the news this evening, because anything that we can see with video, that does certainly help with covering wildfires, especially here in San Antonio. But again, guys, help prevent wildfires. Do not throw lit cigarettes out the window. Do not park or drive over tall grass, and do not leave campfires unattended. Deborah Knapp, come on down. Come on down.
Hey,
yeah. Hey, Deborah, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. You know, we've got crews all over this fire.
Yeah.
That is burning just south of 410 off Southton Road, and 37 down there. It's a rural area, mobile homes. People have been advised to evacuate that area because this wildfire is moving rapidly. And of course, winds are just crazy.
Take a look at this. I mean, sustained wind speeds all morning, all afternoon long have been ranging at first 15, 20 miles an hour, but it's only gotten worse. Front dropped in, Deborah, and now they're at 30, but take a look at this. 40, 45 mile an hour gusts, and the thing is, a tropical storm's 39, and we're at 39 at the airport, and this is only going to get worse through the afternoon. So it's very favorable, very conducive for fire weather conditions in San Antonio.
Right, and we're so dry out there right now.
Yeah.
Right, and so this area in South Bexar County, Old Corpus Christi Road and Highway 181. It's the Bronick Lake area. All around that area, people have been advised to evacuate because this is a rapidly moving grass fire now. East Central ISD has sent out word that the fire is in their area near the former Early Childhood Development Center. Now, there are no students there. It's now being used for child nutrition and other offices, but they have evacuated the staff there just as a precaution. And evacuations have been ordered, as I said, throughout that area. Bexar County Emergency Services District and the San Antonio Fire Department both on the scene battling this blaze.
And I'll tell you what, Deborah, we talked to the National Weather Service, the Texas A&M Forest Service, and extreme fire danger. It happens sometimes throughout the spring season when we get strong winds. Winds pick up from the south and southeast, but they haven't seen it this bad in a long time. So this is a very favorable environment for wildfires, not just to spark, but to spread rapidly. And that's why we have to watch that very closely. The Weather Service issued a red flag warning that's in effect until 9 p.m. tonight. So please just avoid any outdoor burning. Don't leave campfires unattended. I know it's not right now, but like tonight, tomorrow morning, because this is not the end. I imagine we're going to see several events like this unfolding in the coming days, coming weeks. Things are only going to get warmer. I was talking to the fire marshal earlier this week, and he mentioned that when you drive over tall grass, your car is so hot, and like the engine, the catalytic converter can reach temperatures of like 900 degrees. And when the grass is so dry already from the vegetation, from the drought, it's just friction, and it can be a problem. So I don't know exactly how this particular fire was started, but the fact that we can see these things happen so fast, so rapidly, it's a dangerous unfolding situation here in San Antonio. Across the state, really, across Texas, across West Texas, across the Rio Grande, where drought's really, really bad.
And just a perfect storm today with these really dry conditions.
Yeah.
And these wind gusts, you said 45 miles an hour?
Yeah, 40 miles an hour. And matter of fact, you know, we were taking a look at the winds. I do want to show you this right here. I want to rewind it back. So this was what drought looked like 6 months ago. You know, back in August, it was okay. We were doing just fine. Matter of fact, east of I-35, no drought. But watch what happens. We fast forward to today, bam.
Wow.
It's extreme. I mean, this is a tinderbox. This dry air plus dry vegetation, it's just a terrible combination. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Deborah, when you add in those wind gusts, you know, near 40 miles an hour.
And looking at that map, if you
Yeah,
just
absolutely, yeah.
For a second, Ryan.
Yeah.
The area we're talking about right now, it's really just right below the word San Antonio, right here, 37 and 410, right down in
right
that
in the
area.
southeast side of Bexar County.
Right, all around the, as we said, the Bronick Lake area.
Yeah. And look at how bad that drought level
I
is.
know,
I mean,
it's bright red.
It's not exceptional, but it is extreme. And when you talk about extreme drought, I mean, anything can just pop off with embers jumping from spot to spot and fire weather is definitely a concern. This is why the Weather Service has issued red flag warnings. We're in critical fire danger. Temperatures are warm, air is dry, humidity is low, and as you mentioned, wind speeds are going to be a concern. 37 to 40 here in the area, so very
We've
large
got
concern.
2 crews out there on
Yeah.
the scene getting pictures for us.
Yeah.
Sue Calvert is on the scene right now. Sue, she's joining us on the phone. Sue, what can you tell us? What's going on and where are you?
I am at the corner of Drought Road and Old Corpus Christi, just east of Highway 37. There is a roadblock set up here, which you may have already mentioned because I've just joined you. We've been out gathering material. There is a wide area that is blocked off or evacuations are underway. If you can picture in your mind, 37 would be the western boundary. Southton Road and Dunnup Road are the other major roads that are impacted. Now, you've been looking at pictures of smoke in the area. We have seen black smoke, which would indicate either tire fires or structure fires, and we're seeing a lot of gray smoke indicating brush fires. There are many fire units from our emergency services districts and from the San Antonio Fire Department engaged in this battle. So what else can I tell you?
How are they going about battling a fire with these kinds of winds, Sue? Are they using anything beyond water?
Not that I have seen, but I know that they've thrown a lot of apparatus at it. They've got brush trucks, they've got what they call tenders that take water back and forth to the front line, first responders that are fighting the fire. The winds are the main problem that they're battling out here. They can't hardly hear themselves on the radio just for the sheer volume of wind. Now, the other major factor out here is people. And people that are trying to evacuate, people that are trying to get to their children. I just talked to a mom who was carrying 2 children. She had another child with her. She said she was trying to get back into the evacuation zone.
Check.
Child at home with a caregiver, and she was trying to get back into the fire ground to get to another kid. I talked to another mom who said that she has been waiting. She's got a teenage child at home who can't, is not old enough to drive. That child was home from school today. So there are a lot of people who are very concerned with either getting people in or out of the fire ground. So you've probably talked about the radius of roads that have been here, like Southton, Dunnup, Strike, Old Corpus Christi, 181. They've talked about maybe it might go as far as Bronx Lake. So the fire zone is already large and gaining ground by the moment.
And this all broke out about 12:45 this afternoon, Sue. And when did we get the first call?
I think it was a little sooner than that because the news at noon was on the air when I heard the first tone out for the Dunnup Road area, and I actually called us. I looked on the map and I got the address, and I called a steel fabricator company down here, and I said, "Are you seeing smoke?" And the nice lady said, "Why, yes, we are seeing a lot of smoke, and we're seeing a lot of first responders." And that was during the news at noon, so it all broke out around the noon time. And I believe that we've got more than one fire working at this time. I don't know that they've all merged into one fire, but I know that some of the firefighters are off of Old Corpus Christi, some of them are off of Dunnup, some of them appear to be off of Southton Road. I do know because I got stopped and I had to go around. There is a roadblock at Southton Road and Calaveras Cove. There are not only first responders, but utility people that, as the fire races across the countryside, it's impacting utility service, electrical lines. These are the things that people are going to need to be cautious of while they're trying to get into or out of the area. If there's a fire that's power lines and power lines start to fall, that starts even more problems because a lot of power lines start even more grass fires.
Right, and with the winds, power lines have been blown down. 22,000 people are without power right now, unrelated to that fire. So it's a double whammy right there, the fire and the winds with power lines.
I wish that you could hear some of the first responders on the radio. We're monitoring the radio traffic of the people who are trying to get a handle on this, and they are giving it their all, and they are very stressed right now.
All right, Sue, thank you. We'll check back with you. Thanks, and stay safe out there. Yeah, yes.
I have one final thing with you, and that is I did see a note from the East Central School District that they had a place that used to be an early childhood center. It's now a child nutrition center. The staff told us that staff from that place had been evacuated, and they also were talking about bus routes for any kids who may be in school today. They said that any child whose bus route would be impacted, that they would be contacting families directly. So that's the only other thing that I've heard. I also, there's the Bear County Fire Marshal, like through the intersection. I also heard that on the Bear County website there is a pretty good map, and we may have one at KIMS 5 as well, of the area, the most specific area that's in the most danger right now, which would be 37 done under South Hunt.
Okay. Yes, we're getting those, and we're seeing some of the smoke. All right, thank you, Sue. Okay, all right, thank you. We'll check back with you. Okay, we are monitoring this on our desk. Danny has been covering all this. Okay, let me put Sue down here. Okay, Danny, tell me, here's our run.
Okay, the first ones that we have is obviously evacuations that the county is working on. They are looking at a radius of Southton Road, Bronick Lake, Donnup Road, Old Corpus Christi, and Stretch Road. Those are the areas of evacuations that the county is working on, trying to get manpower to the homes there and the apartment complexes and businesses to evacuate for safety reasons. The second item is, as you mentioned earlier, Sue, is East Central ISD. They are aware, they are on top of this as well. If they see any imminent danger, they will send out emails to parents to have the children picked up at an adequate time and location. And most importantly, the traffic. We have reached out to TxDOT for the possibility of closure of 181 South. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep the media posted, and they did say to monitor all social media platforms for closures in the area and traffic types.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Bear County Office of Emergency Management is keeping us updated, sending out updates on what is going on in that area. And we have some pictures there. You can see some of the smoke. I've seen flames earlier leaping from one brush to another. Danny, do we have any idea how many people have been evacuated?
No, they have not been able to give me any numbers because they are trying to work on the evacuations and try to get enough manpower to the areas that are affected at this moment, which is Bear County and other surrounding areas if possible. I did hear earlier that they were also talking about Richter Road at Foster Road, where they're trying to get residents in those areas evacuated as well.
That's spreading further east, right?
Yes, it is spreading further east.
And that makes sense because, I mean, these winds are coming in from the west, and it's all because of a front, and what that's going to do is it's going to help transport any of these embers that are coming off these fires farther east. So anywhere in, let's say, Wilson County, Guadalupe County, east of I-35, east of I-37, it's going to be a problem because I think some of these embers could transport and travel a little bit farther east. So we'll have to watch that very closely, guys.
Very well.
Absolutely.
All right, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much, Danny.
Staying busy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any additional updates, Deb? We were talking about how fire weather is concerned. We still have a red flag warning that's in effect until tonight and at 9 p.m. So we're not done with this threat. Nothing has been issued for tomorrow, but I do imagine, this might be a concern, not just for tonight, but maybe by Thursday and Friday as we head into a drier part of the week. This could be a concern. Just avoiding outdoor burning, driving over tall grass, don't leave any fires unattended. These are all good tips just to remember just for every day. Because of our drought, our concern out there, it's still going to remain high for South Texas, for San Antonio.
And when will the winds die down?
They'll die down, thankfully by tomorrow morning. And I think tomorrow is okay, but it's Thursday and Friday, the days between fronts. Another front will move in Friday, and that may gust winds back up to 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. Not as bad as today. Mm-hmm. That'll be the good news. But anytime we have winds and with this drought in place, it's just a bad combination. So we'll have to definitely watch out for the critical fire danger, the fire weather threat that's present here in San Antonio and across the region, not just for today, but for the coming weeks as well. So we'll have to watch that very closely.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we, of course, will keep you updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
On KENS5.com, KENS5 Plus, all of our platforms, we'll have to watch that very closely because, again, guys, take a look. That's the scene right there, 37 at Southton. And if we can, Greg, maybe put on overlay weather graphics. We'll have another look at some of the wind speeds out there. We have a red flag warning that's in effect. Wind speeds are at 30 miles an hour here in San Antonio, 36 at Del Rio. And again, anywhere from Seguin, Floresville, Wilson County, Guadalupe County, that's going to be a concern because with the fire, where it's at in southeast San Antonio, any of those embers could jump farther east. So we may have to watch for any potential redevelopment, maybe for some forming fires farther east. You can see just right below me are the current wind speeds. Those are sustained. But you look at these wind gusts. These are occasional wind speeds. 37 at the airport, 40 at Bernie, 43 at Uvalde, 40 at Carrizo Springs, and 33 at George West, and 41 at Beeville. Remember, a tropical storm is 39. So we're reaching speeds that are excessive when it comes to wind gusts, and that can definitely cause a problem, which is why we have fire weather concerns out there, not just for today, but I imagine by the end of this week, we'll see winds again, gusts near 25, 30 miles an hour, and that will be conducive, favorable for wildfires spreading rapidly. Remember, it doesn't take much, just a little friction along the highway, you stop, and if you have a truck that's going over tall grass, the temperature of the bottom of that truck is so hot, right? Depending on how long it's running, especially on the highway going 70, 80 miles an hour, and it's driving over dry vegetation, dry grass, that friction can definitely cause a problem and be a concern in the area. So avoid outdoor burning. Strong winds, dry air may contribute to elevated extreme fire weather behavior. Here, Greg, take a look. Just get this back to, yeah. So it's just really clear out there, but with the winds gusting at that speed, it's going to be a problem in the area. Wildfire danger, I think we're not done with this. You know, we're not done, not just for today, but I think later in the week and even throughout spring, that may be a concern as well. So help prevent wildfires. Do not throw lit cigarettes out the door, out the window, especially when you're driving, because remember, along the highway, it's very tall, very dry grass. Do not park or drive over that tall grass, and do not leave campfires unattended. Bexar County is officially underneath a burn ban. I talked to the fire marshal, and he mentioned that. Mostly along and west of I-35 are where most counties are underneath a burn ban as we speak. So again, just a little bit of advice, tips. You just do not park over tall grass. That vegetation, that dry vegetation, the dry grass, all is just conducive for fire weather in the area. We do again have red flag warnings in effect for most counties across our local area, for Bexar County out to Valverde County, towards Cuero, Victoria, Gonzales. Notice as I zoom out, you can see most of the state is underneath a fire weather threat, with the exception of North and Northeast Texas, but anywhere from Houston to Lubbock to Del Rio, here in San Antonio and out to Corpus Christi, we do have a red flag warning and elevated fire weather threat that's in place right now. So again, guys, if you have any video, photo, content that you can send to us, if you're seeing the fire right now, I know a few folks mentioned that in the comments, send it to news@kens5.com. Send your video, send your photos. That can definitely help with us covering this particular news event here in San Antonio and across the region. Again, guys, yeah, what's up, Jack?
So we've got a lot of social comments.
Okay, good.
We've been monitoring.
Good.
You're not going to see her on camera, but you are going to hear what she has to say. So, Kristen, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack. Kristen here from social media. The good thing about social media is we can reach a really wide audience. We have a lot of people on our posts. We have a live stream as well as other video elements on our Kids 5 Facebook page, and a lot of people in the comments are just tagging their friends and loved ones that they know are in this area to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. They're also wanting to thank first responders. A lot of people
absolutely
really appreciate the work of
yeah.
first responders. And we have some questions. We're getting questions as to how it started, which we're working to gather
of course.
Information, of course. But mainly it's really just people wanting to make sure anybody they know in that area is aware of this and knows about the evacuations, and they're away from the area, that they know not to go back to that area right now.
Right.
And it's just a really good way for people to share that with each other and
yeah.
reach a lot of people.
And I just wanted to clarify, Kristen, I saw a couple of comments. Where exactly in San Antonio is this located? I know people mentioned obviously I-37 Southton Road, but is that southeast Bexar County, correct? Kind of in that area,
yeah,
right?
We're calling it Southeast Bexar County.
Southeast Bexar County. Again, guys, if you have any photos, videos, I know a lot of people are commenting down below. if you are seeing this fire, send it to news@kens5.com. That definitely helps with the coverage of this particular event, because we can only be in so many places. That we do have news reporters out there, and that's helping photographers out there to watch this event. But I-37 Southton Road, that's correct, right? You know,
Yeah.
so.
And if you know anybody out there, get on our Kins 5 Facebook page,
Right.
Or Instagram page, and just tag your friends and loved ones that you know are in that area. It's a great way to share that information.
Right.
And then they will be able to see all the updates in real time that we're providing for our audience.
Right, yeah, so not just news@kens5.com, where you can email it, but on Facebook, on social media, you can go to the comments. Obviously, we always see that, the comment section, tag your loved ones, tag who you want to tag, and that definitely helps with photos, videos, content to help kind of cover this particular event. Right, perfect, perfect. Yeah, so there's a live shot. There's I-37 at Southton, where the evacuation ordered for wildfires on the far south side of San Antonio. We had updates from Danny Martinez and Deborah Knapp earlier on this particular event, but notice you can see smoke, haze kind of building in from this wildfire that's in southeast Bexar County, and the wind speeds. That's what's a problem, right? We are seeing winds at 30 miles an hour. Those are sustained wind speeds, right? Those are just the given wind speed at any time, but every now and then the occasional gusts are reaching 40 to 45 miles an hour. Now, some of the forecasted call for 50 to 55 plus, and that is excessive. And we've seen some wind gusts near the Del Rio area, Valverde County, Eagle Pass. But right now, wind speeds are really gusty. I mean, 30 to 35 miles an hour on average, but gusting near 40. And remember, with strong winds, dry air, I mean, this westerly wind at the surface is driving in very dry air. It's resulting in low humidity. And when you add in that plus our drought at the surface, it is a dangerous combination. I mean, anything that sparks can spread rapidly, just spreads so fast, and that's why it's leading to elevated fire weather, critical fire weather concerns here in San Antonio. So we'll have to watch that very closely.
Joining you live now is going to be Brandon Oliver,
Okay.
East Central ISD spokesperson, to let you know what's going on out there.
All right, Brandon, hey, what can you tell me about what's happening out there?
So there is a brush fire out here. I mean, obviously with the wind and drought, things are being impacted. But as far as East Central ISD, the only thing that is impacting us is our old ECDC building, which is no longer used for students. It's actually used for staff and some offices. Those folks have been evacuated. The only thing that might be affected as far as our families here at East Central ISD might be bus routes, and in which that case, the transportation department will contact parents directly if their child's route is impacted. So our schools are not affected. It's just an office building that we have. All the staff has been cleared, and again, the only thing that might be affected is bus routes. And
that would be between the hours of, I mean, now and 3:30, correct? That's what could be impacted in the next coming hours.
Yeah, I mean, most schools are starting to get out around 3 o'clock.
Right.
The East Central High School gets out around 4:20. Over the next couple hours, that may be affected. But again, our transportation department will contact the parents directly of the bus numbers that are going to be affected.
And one more question: do you see smoke and haze outside? I mean, what have you seen recently out in your part of San Antonio?
We just see smoke up in the sky.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys are doing a great job of coverage of it. We actually had forwarded your link out to several of our families and staff, so that way they can also visualize it and see it. But again, no East Central schools are affected. It's just an older office building that we have, and all staff has been cleared out of that.
Awesome, Brandon. Well, thank you so much for your time, shaving out time of your day to help us out with this coverage of this wildfire in South and Southeast San Antonio. So, Brandon, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, thanks, Jack. Again, guys, there is a live look, right? You can see the smoke building, the haze driving into the atmosphere. So if you're driving anywhere on this side of town, so 37, anywhere from downtown to the southeast side, you can kind of probably see that just kind of engulfing the atmosphere, right? And then the problem is, with this kind of environment, with winds gusting over 35, 40 miles an hour, this is a favorable environment for any wildfires, not just to pop up and form, but to jump from spot to spot. This is why wildfire crews first responders are out there trying to cover this, because if you don't cover it quickly and you let it build and travel from ember from spot to spot, this can be a problem and a concern, not just for San Antonio, but for areas east, right? We have that west-northwest wind, and near Floresville, Seguin, New Braunfels, I-35 towards Gonzales, that's where we're going to have to watch very closely, because sometimes these strong winds can just carry these embers across the atmosphere, and that can create a problem. So we're watching these northwest winds. Of course, we talked about the drought. Matter of fact, we talked about that maybe about 10 minutes ago, but I do want to show you one more time just kind of the progression and how bad it's been in our area. And not just San Antonio, but across South Central, South Texas. This was 6 months ago, back in August. Take a look. It wasn't bad. We had okay drought, but fast forward to today, the gusty day, where winds are near 40 miles an hour. And this is what our drought is looking like. Extreme, anywhere from Austin. All of San Antonio is in the red color, indicating extreme drought, dry vegetation. And not just that. Remember, we're recovering from winter. We're still technically in winter. Spring officially starts on March 20th. But with the cold air last month, that has dried out the ground, the soil, the vegetation, and what that does is just create a tinderbox for wildfires. It just makes it such a conducive environment for not just getting started, but spreading rapidly. And that's why the Weather Service has issued a red flag warning that's in effect until tonight. No word on it being extended, because I do think by tomorrow wind speeds will diminish quite a lot and it'll come down. But we'll have to watch Thursday, Friday, Saturday for another front that'll drop in, and that may create another wildfire threat by the end of the week. So we'll have to watch that very closely. But again, extreme drought anywhere from here, Austin, the hill country, where there's a lot of vegetation, even out west down Highway 90 towards Uvalde and Eagle Pass. This is where we're looking at very dangerous wildfire conditions, critical fire danger that's out there this afternoon. So we'll have to watch this very closely. Again, guys, evacuation ordered for wildfire on the south side of San Antonio. It's near I-37 and Southton Road. High winds increasing the fire risk. It is a problem out there. And we talked about the winds. Let's take a look at some of the wind speeds that are out there right now. These are wind gusts. So these aren't sustained wind speeds, which, by the way, they're probably at 30 miles an hour or so, but the occasional wind gust is what can cause a problem, right? If you just get a gust near 40 miles an hour, that can carry one ember to the next spot. And we're seeing at 37 at the airport, 39 at Bernie, 40 up I-35, 43 at Pleasanton. And these are dangerous wind gusts in this kind of environment, in this kind of setup at the surface where you saw the drought, which is why the A&M Forest Service has issued an extreme danger, fire danger outlook for most of the state. It does not include East Texas, right? But anywhere from here to Austin, West Texas, towards parts of El Paso. I mean, take a look. You don't see red a lot, and that's extreme fire danger across the area. Jack Acosta.
Toss it out to Sue Kalberg.
All right, Sue Kalberg. All right, come on. Sue Kalberg, we have her reporting on the south side of San Antonio. Sue, what are you seeing out there and what's going on?
All right, I'm at the corner of Dunnup and Old Corpus Christi, and I want to talk to you about this black smoke that's on the horizon just past me here, because a woman named Lori just pulled up and she was desperate. She was looking for information, and this is what it's like for many people here in this evacuation zone. She received word to evacuate. She said her house is right over there across the street, where there has been a big column of black smoke rising from the area. But of course she can't get in because it's an evacuation zone. She's very frustrated. She left here just moments ago saying she's going to go try to find family where she can take shelter until they figure out what's going on here. So that's what a lot of people are facing, is that they're trying to get in or they're trying to get out. I've talked to several women whose children were home, children that were old enough to be home alone. And now the women were trying to get back to their kids, to see to their kids. And of course, the firefight continues as the winds are just out of control here. So, we've talked about the evacuation zone, and I also heard from someone I know who got an evacuation order, and they were saying, oh, well, I don't know whether I should evacuate or not. And let me just tell you, I'm standing here in the wind, pushing against the wind just to stand up straight. And I've got the microphone cradled away from the wind just so you can hear me, because the force of the wind is that incredible. There is a fire truck. That's engine 8. It says West Side San Antonio. I have seen on the way down here, I got passed by 3 fire trucks from San Antonio. This is a mutual aid situation. There are a lot of units from San Antonio fighting the fire. There are a lot of units from Bexar County. There are a lot of people doing traffic control. And you know, the best advice I would have is if you get an evacuation order, take it seriously. You know, don't think, oh, I have time. Don't think that it may not be me. If they're telling you that it's time to leave, it's time to leave, because the wind's out here. Can you see that guy? He's struggling against the wind just to get back to his truck. And that's the way it is out here for a couple of square miles in the fire ground. So they're the wind is almost blowing me over. And you know, another thing that I'm worried about, because I've seen a lot of electrical trucks, a lot of electrical service providers. As you can well imagine, the power lines in this part of the world are taking a beating. We've had lots of power lines down. We've got lots of people who are without electricity. Well, if the lines have gone down and the lines are still live, you know, you want to make sure that you're not walking into an area where the lines are down and making it worse by stepping on a live power line. The other problem with live power lines going down is that with the dry conditions out here, as drouthy as we are, those lines, when they go down, can start even more fires. And that was the concern I had when I was driving down here. They were trying to just get a handle on how big the fire zone was. And you can tell from the amount of traffic out here. We're in a very rural area in southeast Bexar County, but there are lots of cars and trucks on the road right now because there has been an evacuation order and people are just trying to figure their lives out, along with the regular traffic that's in this zone for people just trying to do business. I've seen landscapers. There's an aggregate hauler. Here's behind Jean, there's a truck with safety beacons, you know, as they try to, there are so many roads that are blocked off right now. They're just trying to get a handle on it, keep a handle on it, keep people safe as they're trying to get in and out of here. If you're trying to picture the evacuation zone in your mind, I think there's just a lot of fear here, because when you leave your home and you see the whole horizon blackened by smoke and you're leaving and you don't know what you're going to come back to, that's just a very frightening thing. And I think, you know, when I saw a mother walking away with 3 children trying to get into the fire zone to get back to her other child, she was walking, you know, and approaching the deputies and trying to convince them to let her through, trying to find a ride, trying to get back to where her child was. We talked to another woman who was out of the fire zone, but her kid was still in the fire zone, and she was trying to negotiate with neighbors. They were talking about the safety of 4 children and how they were who was gonna be able to get to the kids, how were they able to, you know, who was gonna be responsible for them, where were they gonna meet up, because just coming up with meeting zones in a situation like this is difficult. Because, and there's another siren, I don't know what this is coming at me, but there's another siren coming at me now. Here's another first responder leaving the zone. As you can well imagine, they are having to haul water. They've got tenders, they've got brush trucks. I don't know what that one says, but here's another one. Okay, look, there's some little brush trucks. These, look, they are, they're headed southbound on Drought Road. That is a little brush operation, brush truck. They are headed, they're redeploying. They were up here on Old Corpus Christi Road and they are headed south now. I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe somebody in the office who's been monitoring. Ooh, holy cow. You know, that speaks to what you just saw right there. That speaks to the danger of being in a fire zone like this. When you've got a tender with water that's loaded with water and they're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, they cannot stop on a dime. That's why when you hear sirens in your rearview mirror, when you see flashing lights, get out of their way. They don't have the ability to stop on a dime. They don't have the ability to make sharp turns. And I don't know if you just saw that, but that fire truck came around that corner hot. Look, there's the American Red Cross is on scene. They're pulling into the hot zone. I haven't heard anything yet about evacuation shelters in this part of the world, but perhaps we can talk about that as the afternoon wears on. Yes,
All
sir.
right,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Sue. And yeah, you saw first responders out there just going quickly, right? I mean, look how dry the grass is. That's how bad it is out there, right? The grass is tall. You can see it's not very green. We haven't received much rain, and this is all a tinderbox for wildfires just popping off so quickly. And that's why we have to be very careful, right? Be safe. Check any unattended fire. Avoid any outdoor burning. This is a tinderbox, a conducive environment for wildfires that can just pop off in a switch, right? And a big reason is the wind speeds. I mean, we've seen wind gusts near 35 to 40 miles an hour all day long. And that's what's been a concern. Not just the winds, but the dry air, the dropping humidity. This morning we had drizzle and light rain, but now skies are clear, and behind this boundary, this particular weather system is very low humidity. And then you mix that in with those gusty winds, the drought that's in place. It is a terrible combination. We were talking about the drought earlier, how it's worsened significantly over the last 6 to 8 months. Back in August, it was okay. We were in a moderate drought to a light drought level, but now we're extreme. We're not exceptional. That is the worst kind of drought, the highest level, but we are at that extreme level where it is a problem. Dry air, low humidity, drought conditions, all a favorable environment for wildfires spreading rapidly. Fires will jump from spot to spot. And again, wind speeds are up to 29 to 30 miles an hour here in the city. Notice 33 at Fredericksburg, 30 at Floresville. And remember, these fires right now are in southeast San Antonio. And depending on the wind speed and wind direction, which right now it's from the west, that's where it's going to transport farther east towards Floresville, Seguin, and New Braunfels. So we're watching that very closely. KENS 5 crews are out there right now. First responders are out there watching it very closely. That's near I-37 at Southton Road. This is all a result of the drought, the dry winds, the high winds that have been gusting near 40 miles an hour. And we were talking about before we went to Sue Kalberg is the fire danger. This is an outlook updated every day from the Texas A&M Forest Service. And notice, you don't see this very often, a lot of red on the map. So it's not just here, right? It's from here to San Angelo, to Del Rio, San Antonio, down to Corpus Christi. We're all underneath a dangerous, elevated, critical fire weather period that, again, I don't see improving very much in the coming weeks. We'll see it fluctuate from day to day. Like, for example, tomorrow it'll get better because wind speeds are expected to come down. They'll diminish. But this is a byproduct of just how bad our drought is. As a matter of fact, anywhere from Austin to Del Rio, it's extreme. It's almost exceptional. So when you add in these kind of winds, this kind of atmosphere, this weather pattern, wildfires are bound to happen. So please, avoiding outdoor burning, driving over tall grass. We were talking to the fire marshal earlier today, and the temperature of your car, the catalytic converter, as it drives over tall grass, that friction can cause sparks just rapidly, just very quickly. So just avoid driving over tall grass, dragging chains on the roads, things like that. Don't leave campfires unattended if you are out this evening, tomorrow morning. Just avoid any outdoor burning at all costs because fire danger is at a high right now. It's extreme based on this index provided by the Texas A&M Forest Service. And you can see, again, it's not just for here. It's to Del Rio. And most of the Rio Grande is also underneath extreme drought. So this is a widespread issue where wildfires will continue to be a concern. It'll be a problem because winter was not that beneficial with rainfall. We saw very cold weather, snaps of cold weather, but not much rainfall. Here and there, yes, but widespread, consistent rainfall, no. And as a byproduct, as a result from that, we're not going to see much improvement on the wildfire threat across South Texas. So we'll have to watch that very closely.
Danny's here with an update.
Come on, Danny. Come on, Danny. Danny Martinez with the KENS 5 desk. Danny, what updates do you have on the wildfire that's in southeast San Antonio?
When we reached down over to the Bexar County here in San Antonio, fire marshal's office, they're all tied up right now making all these initial evacuations. And speaking of evacuations, we do have the area in question, which is the Donop area, the Bronick Lake, Southton Road, Old Corpus Christi Road. Mm-hmm. This is an area that they're concentrating, and also just added recently over to Richter in the area by the Foster Road. Foster at Richter Road, they're getting folks in that area evacuated, trying to get more manpower to get residents and businesses removed out of harm's way for safety reasons. We've also reached out to East Central ISD, and East Central has indicated to KENS 5 that they are releasing some of the students, and parents are picking up the children in fear that there is nothing out of the ordinary. Everything is moving swiftly and quickly. And most importantly, we reached out to TxDOT, and they're going to give us an update as to the closures of any major thoroughfares, roads, or delays, or to have people not evacuate, but to stay clear from the area as the emergency crews are trying to deal with this brush fire. That's pretty serious in this area. Right
and
now.
We're coming up on 3 o'clock. A lot of folks are getting out on the roads at 3:30, 4:30. This can definitely impact travel, traffic, specifically on I-37, right? 37, Southton, south side of Bexar County. That can be a problem with driving and conditions. So we have to watch and monitor this situation very closely.
And for cosmetics reasons, if people are still traveling, going towards Corpus Christi, they can take the other routes. And the other route would be going down 35, getting to 1604, making the left going eastbound, and shooting back south on 181, getting away from that area.
Good tips, Danny. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Got it.
Again, guys, so you can see that. It's a live picture, right? You can see smoke, haze coming out from this particular wildfire right there. And there's a couple of things that you're seeing, right? There's I-37 at Southton right below me. You're seeing kind of the larger picture, right? You can see the haze, the smoke building in from the surface, building into the atmosphere. Of course, also, this is going to impact air quality. If you suffer from COPD, emphysema, any asthma breathers, right? Anywhere on the south side, air quality is definitely going to reduce and be a concern. So we're definitely talking about the evacuation ordered for the wildfire on the far south side. We're talking about that. We're talking about the high winds, the wildfire threat, but also the air quality threat. If you suffer from any labored breathing, asthma, COPD, those are concerns we're going to have to monitor very closely, because air quality, wildfire threats are all going to be a concern for this evening as this wildfire continues to be battled on the southeast side of San Antonio. But again, guys, right to the south, right below me, you're seeing live conditions, and right just popped up right now is the fire danger outlook. So this is for today. We talked about this earlier this morning with Paul Morella's. We talked about it yesterday, but you don't really see extreme fire danger too often, right? We typically see high to very high. That happens common, in our area. But, the first week of March, we're warming up. We're in the 70s and 80s. Now we're getting a front to drop in. Winds are gusting near 35, 40 miles an hour. This is all very favorable to wildfire danger, critical fire weather concerns. So just to reiterate, we talked about this earlier, avoid any outdoor burning, don't drive over tall grass. That can be a problem. We were talking to the fire marshal earlier, and the friction between vehicles and the tall grass that's already in drought, that's already dry, the dry vegetation, that friction, that temperature difference, right, can cause sparks, embers to just pop off really rapidly. So please be careful, especially on the side of the road. Grass fires are so common in spring and summertime. If you've lived here for a long period of time, you know that sometimes you'll just be driving along 281, I-37, I-35, and you'll see a grass fire just spark off out of nowhere. A reason for that is because of vehicles driving over tall grass, and that can be a problem. So please avoid outdoor burning and driving over tall grass. Those two things are the primary reasons we see wildfires just pop up out of nowhere. They're unattended, so be very careful out there, avoid any outdoor burning. So we were talking about fire danger. Let's talk about the wind gusts. These are up to date, right? So it's 2:49 on our Tuesday afternoon. Wind speeds are at 37 in the city, 39 at Bernie, 41 at Kerrville, 45 at Del Rio, 44 at Beeville, and 43 at Cotulla. So these are all from the northwest. And keep in mind, these are from the west, northwest, not from the east, southeast. So anytime we have a wind from the Gulf that brings in humidity, that helps us with the fire threat. But when you have a dry wind coming in from West Texas, when it's coming from Mexico, that's just ushering in a very dry climate, a very dry atmosphere, and that's also favorable for wildfires. So that's why we're watching this very closely, because this is a perfect environment, a tinderbox that just pops off wildfires very, very quickly. So that is a look at some of the wind gusts out there. The Weather Service issued this yesterday. It started off as a fire weather watch, but progressively became a higher threat, which is why there is a red flag warning for every single county across our area, right? I mean, it started off west, and then it slowly expanded farther east. Reason being is because the wind speeds, some of our high-resolution forecast models were suggesting upwards of 50 to 55 mile-an-hour winds. We're not seeing up to that speed, but we are seeing up to 40 to 45 on the occasional gust in San Antonio, in Seguin, in Hondo, which is why the Weather Service kind of expanded this, right? Anywhere from Lubbock to the Valley to Brownsville, out east towards Houston, we're all underneath some degree, some level of fire weather watch, fire weather warning, and specifically this is a red flag warning, which is why we have a weather impact alert until this evening. So we have a wildfire on the south-southeast side of San Antonio, I-37 at Southton Road, high winds increasing that risk. Wind speeds are gusting near 40 miles an hour, and this is why the Weather Service has prompted the Weather Service to keep this in place, because our fire weather risk is just so high right now. While it's just 1 or 2 fires in the area, we could easily see more spread as embers just continue to push farther east, because remember, it's a west-northwest wind. And with that west-northwest wind, that's going to push embers and fire farther east if it catches. And remember, we have an environment, a vegetation, a ground that is perfect for wildfires. So we're watching that very closely, but wind speeds right now 30 to 40 around San Antonio and south central Texas.
Hey, Ryan, on the phone we have a Councilwoman from District 4.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilwoman Adriana. Adriana, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's a busy day in San Antonio.
Very, very busy. Tell me, what are you seeing? What updates do you have, and what can you tell KENS 5?
You know, we are aware that there's an active brush fire over on the southern part of the city by Southton. Chief Rouse though let us know that the fire may have originally started in Bexar County, but we do have fire department on the scene right now with all of their brush fire trucks, with every extra equipment that they have. Of course, the wind conditions, we were trying to make sure that people were aware that there was going to be wind conditions, and so Maria Villagomez, who oversees our public safety efforts, was on her way over there just a while over there, and she was going to call me with an update as soon as she got more of an update.
Awesome. And so first responders are on the scene. Can you also reiterate that as well?
Yes, we have our San Antonio Fire Department that's on the scene. They have their brush fire trucks, and they have all of the equipment that they use for fighting this type of fire. So we are out there, we are on it, and we'll just keep you all informed as the situation progresses.
And those who are asking over, Facebook Live right now, we're talking about I-37 at Southton Road, correct? That's the south and southeast side of San Antonio, just to clarify that.
Correct. The brush fire is off of the southeast part of San Antonio.
Awesome. Well, Adriana, thank you so much for your time and helping us out and helping us cover this wildfire event here in San Antonio.
Thank you. And just a reminder again, please be extra careful. This wind that's out there it's very, very dangerous right now.
Yeah, we're seeing wind gusts near 40 miles an hour. And as you probably know, it's drought, the grass is so dry, the vegetation's so dry, so it's almost a tinderbox we're in, right? I mean, this environment we're in is just very, very dry, and that's why responders have been not just ready for today, but since yesterday, preparing for this wildfire threat, correct?
Yes, and we do have our San Antonio Fire Department does an incredible job of preparing ahead of time and always being ready. So we are working hard, and I just ask that you please keep our firefighters in your prayers right now, and make sure that you're extra aware of everything that you're doing because of the wind. Awesome.
Adriana, thank you so much for shaving time out of your day to help us out with this, again, wildfire coverage here on KENS 5.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that was Adriana, again, Councilwoman in District 4 here in San Antonio. These conditions are just not good, guys. Wildfire threat remains. It's extreme across San Antonio with these winds upwards of 45 miles an hour.
Ryan, we have Mike Jimenez.
Mike Jimenez, okay.
I-37 and Southton with someone who was forced out.
Wow.
All
okay,
right.
bring him in.
Ready to go?
Absolutely, bring him in.
Evacuations. There is a fire here within about 1.25 miles of acres of land here down on the south side. And we spoke with one resident here, which I'm going to introduce you to her right now. She's one of the many residents that have been evacuated from this fire situation. Her name is Ruth Chavez. Hi, Ruth. How are you today? So if you could please just, tell us exactly what happened, how you came here at this point.
Well, I was sitting under my garage and I started smelling smoke. And I'm like, oh my God, they just said on the news to not burn. So I started smelling smoke and I called my granddaughter, which they live right up the road. And I told her, Mama, look outside. And she said it was all under fire. So she got out and then she came over to my house. And then, we live upstairs, so we could see all the fire and the smoke. And then on my phone, it started saying to evacuate. So we just got what I got and got out of there. But it's a little scary. Yeah.
And so, speaking of those, what were the moments like for you, just gathering just what you could? Can you kind of...
I really didn't gather nothing. I just told my husband, because we live upstairs and I have the chairs that he's got to come down on. And my mom that has dementia, I had to get her out. And it takes me a bit to get her downstairs. And we just got in the truck and left. I left everything. Everything's there.
How long have you lived here in this area?
Oh my God, all my life. Yes, all my life. I moved to Pleasanton for a bit and then I came home. And this is our neighborhood, our community, so.
Have you ever experienced anything like this before?
Never, no. No, we have not. I would have never thought anybody would burn, especially with this crazy wind, But I don't even know how it got started.
And exactly, do you know exactly how close to your home the fire is exactly?
I want to say it was about 1.5 miles, maybe 2. Not that far. It was really not that far because you could see and you could feel, and then when we were already leaving, you could see the ashes. So it wasn't far. It wasn't far, and the wind was pretty harsh. So.
How concerned are you about, the possible damage to your home?
Well, it's just a home, but it's our home, and we worked really hard for what we have, so it is what it is,
And as you sit here, with your parents, obviously they have medical conditions. I see your doggies there too. What exactly are you feeling at this point?
That all my other pets are okay. I left my tortoise, I left my potbelly pig, my chickens. So that's that's my gig going. That's what keeps me going.
And have you been able to talk to authorities? What have they been able to tell you?
Hey, Lucy,
how you doing? They just told me they're here to make sure nobody
good.
goes
So,
in.
You're being impacted by this wildfire,
they'll let us
right?
know when we can come back in. So we're sitting here, and they don't want to go anywhere. I got a couple of friends that called that they want to go hang out.
So we're not live right now, but
they don't. We're home.
We'll tell you when we're about to go live.
So we'd like to
about
be at
3
home.
minutes. About 3 minutes. But yeah.
Well, it
and you're
is
difficult
difficult times right now. Difficult moments as you sit here and wait. And, my prayers go out to you and your family as you sit here, your animals, and also your animals back home. Hopefully everything will be okay and you can return shortly.
We were so in a hurry, I loaded my husband's wheelchair on the back, and I just set it on the top. And I'm looking right now, and I was like, what happened to your wheelchair? So we're going to have to backtrack. Hopefully nobody picked it up.
We have another one.
We have another one, but I have to bring it from upstairs.
The house what hurts. God built it.
Yeah, we built a house, so we've been there for quite a bit.
20-something.
Yeah.
Okay, Ruth. Well, thank you for sharing just a little bit of exactly what you're going through. I know it's a difficult time right now. Okay. All right. You take care. All right. All right. So as you can see, that was Ruth Chavez, who lives just down the road here. This is Southton Road that actually intersects Strike Road. Her home is in danger at the moment, at this time, and she's sitting here with her family. Obviously, some tense moments, not just for Miss Chavez here, but for many people that are sitting here in this gas station here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be here throughout the evening newscast. So be sure to stay tuned with us at 4, 5, and 6. We're going to keep you updated on the situation here and going to try to talk with some more folks here about these evacuations. From Mike Jimenez, KINS 5.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike Jimenez, reporting on the south side of San Antonio. And now we're back on KINS 5. Wind gusts are high. I mean, we're talking strong winds. This is an elevated fire threat that is continuing to be a problem. And on the phone with me right now is Ulysses Galvan, a small business owner on the south side of San Antonio. Ulysses, how are you doing right now?
Good. We're here trying to, take some preventative measures to make sure that mitigate any costs here or any danger from this fire coming up. We can't really see it much, but we know it's pretty much crawling all over the place right now.
And you mentioned the south side. So where specifically are you located? Because this particular fire is I-37 at Southton Road. High winds have caused this fire to spark, but where are you exactly located?
So we are exactly right off of 181, 12487 South Highway 181. That's where we're at, and it's right behind us. So the street behind us, which is Laguna Road, that one's been blocked off. One of our neighbors couldn't get any access to his place. We kind of helped him out, to try to get access to his place.
And just to build off that, moreover, how have you been impacted, local business-wise? Like, how has this particular wildfire affected daily plans for you?
So as of right now, we're trying to get ahead of it, right? Make sure that it doesn't hit us as bad. So what we're doing is actually consolidating, moving our equipment away from the grass area, moving it towards the center of our location, where all the gravel is at, and make sure and try to make a trail around the area where we have some bamboo area on the side, and we're just knocking it down with our own equipment to make sure there's a little spacer between us and that fire.
Have you been through this before? I mean, prepping for this, it seems like you know a thing or two about preparing for wildfires.
Well,
I mean, maybe as a local business owner, you're always prepared for the worst.
Yeah, we've never been through this exactly before, but
yeah,
a lot of it is common sense, and
for sure.
We work construction, and we've done somewhat of this kind of stuff before.
What are you most concerned with? I mean, you're talking about preparing for it, but for some people that are kind of dealing with the same thing, right? Dealing with their own local business, or even loved ones that live on this side of town, what are you most concerned with seeing a wildfire that sometimes have the tendency to spread rapidly,
Well, first and foremost is the safety, right? Safety, make sure nobody else is affected, make sure we can cut that trail of fire off. Secondly is cost, right? Because, you never know with insurances. We want to make sure that nothing else is expensive. I mean, nowadays, we're trying to take care of cost in anything.
Yeah.
So to make sure that it doesn't affect us in any way. Like I said, first thing, make sure that everybody's safe. Making sure that our employees are good, and then also trying to help our neighbors out in any way we can.
Good, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Galvan, for telling what you're seeing. I mean, specifically, you said you're not seeing much, right? You saw a little bit of smoke out there from earlier today. Is that kind of what you?
No, there's a big cloud. You can tell the difference, from blue sky and a brown sky. And the brown sky is not common. And right now, when we were actually driving in, me and my associate were out. We drove in, and he's like, "Man, this sky looks different." And
right.
I said, "Well, you really can't see a fire," but then we started seeing like a line, just a straightaway line going up, and I'm like, "Man, that's
that
spread
happens
out." Like,
yeah.
Kind of, like I said, it's not a big fire where you can see it all raging out, but it's more incognito or creeping. Right, so it's more ground level. But again, I mean, as it goes to the ground level, it's going to get houses. It can get houses. It can get, Again, I'm going to give you an example. We're next to a pallet factory.
Yeah.
And that's our main worry is we're keeping an eye on that to make sure that if something does happen, we can take some even extra steps to make sure that doesn't light up or whatever, because that can be pretty ugly scene right there.
Yeah, and that can be concerning because you mentioned you can't see it, but you see the effects of it, the smoke coming out, the haze coming out, and kind of the sky looking different. So first responders are out there, they're responding to the scene, but I mean, how important is it to stay aware and to be on your feet, the sense of urgency you have to have when responding to a wildfire? Just because you see the smoke, it might not mean the wildfire is near you, but I mean, it might be close.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't see gas, right? But it can be pretty lethal. Same thing here, right?
Yeah.
You may not be able to see the big flames, but I would still stay aware. I mean, there's very, very few things. Obviously, listen to law enforcement. But if you're able to do something about it, I'd say more. Get your grass wet. I mean, it might help, it might not, but I mean, it's always better safe than sorry, right? So in our case, like I said, we're trying to move the things away, our equipment away, because we don't want to be down for our customers. We want to move our equipment away and be preventative. Again, it's going to cost us some sales maybe because I might be moving equipment instead of helping customers out. But in the long run, it'll help our business and it'll help our other customers too. And you mentioned grass, wetting your grass. I mean, sometimes we have to take steps to fight this fire, right? I mean, you probably looked outside recently. The grass, dude, it's dry. The vegetation's dry. We're in drought. I mean, how bad does the grass look? How dry does the grass look, in your area? Because we're in drought. I mean, it's pretty bad. Yeah, we haven't, mostly it's all brown, right? Most of it is brown. There's very few areas. I mean, the only thing that we see green right now is bamboo, which is what we're trying to knock down and make sure we create that line. But most of it is all dry. I mean, it's bad, yeah. Again, the main reason for this right now is this wind. The wind, it provides more oxygen. It livens that fire, right? Right. It allows it to travel. It travels even more. The embers is going to go up.
And he will cue me like he did before through the phone.
Absolutely. Well, Ulysses, thank you so much for your time, shaving time out of your day to help us out and help cover this wildfire that's blazing in San Antonio right now. Definitely. Stay safe out there. You too, man. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Bye. And just a quick update, guys. This was sent out by the city of San Antonio. For those who have evacuated the I-37 and Southton Road area, which is where this wildfire is being reported, where you're seeing the video, the smoke come out of I-37 and Southton Road.
Mic check, this is a mic check. We're going to talk about everything that I know for 5 minutes. Has been established at
the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall, 10040 Espada Road. Just to reiterate that one more time. For those who have been evacuated from the I-37 and Southton Road area, a temporary shelter
if I shield the microphone,
has been established at the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall, 10040 Espada Road. Stay safe and follow for more updates here on KENS 5. We'll have additional updates.
It'll be all right.
In just a little bit. So. All right, yeah, and we have Sue Kalberg out there right now. Sue, what are you seeing? Winds are high and conditions are perfect for wildfires right now.
So, KENS 5 family, in case you are listening live. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Jack Acosta. Hello? Okay, so I'm going to just assume that I'm talking. I don't know why my phone didn't go off, but with regard to the KENS 5 family, this is Sue Kalberg reporting from the corner of Dunnup Road and Old Corpus Christi Road. We're in Southeast Bexar County. We're at the edge of the fire zone, if you will, east of I-37. Now, this is a very fluid situation. I'm trying to shield the microphone so you can actually hear me, but just from the fact that the wind is pushing hard, that gives you an indication just how dangerous it is out here right now. Now, a lot has changed since we were with you a few minutes ago, and I haven't been paying attention to all of our coverage. So I'm going to tell you what I've been able to gather while I've been listening and monitoring and watching the internet here while the wind is blowing. I want to give a shout out to my friends at the Pleasanton Express who cover Atascosa County extensively. They say that in Atascosa County, northern Atascosa County, they are also battling structure fires. They say they have structure fires on Big Leaf and Peaceful Lane in the northern part of Atascosa County. There are also posts from the county judge in Atascosa County saying that the high winds have caused power problems throughout Atascosa County, and they have had to close down the courthouse and several different government operations in Atascosa County. So that is new news. Another thing that I've been hearing a lot on the scanners everywhere, not just in this fire zone, is that traffic lights are out. And so, as you're making your way, even if you're in the fire ground, out of a fire ground, no matter where you go, just be aware that people are under a lot of stress right now. And as they're traveling around, we have seen several near misses at this corner where we are, Dunnup and Old Corpus Christi. people that are panicked to get home or away from home or get back to their children, they're not really paying attention to traffic signs and signals right now. So as you move about during the next few hours while this wind continues to blow, you need to be careful about that. Another thing I want to tell you about traveling about during this critical time is that Google Maps, I was consulting with Google Maps to see where the barricades are, and this one where we're standing, Dunup and Old Corpus Christi, it doesn't show that it's barricaded, but obviously it is. And there are many intersections around here, I-37, Dunup, Southton Road, where the roads are shut down and you won't be able to get through. So do not rely on your device for accurate, up-to-date information while we go through this period of time here. I also want to talk about the fact that the county sent out an evacuation order. It was mistakenly sent out to the entire county. It didn't specify that the evacuation zone is where we are. It is in the Dunup, Old Corpus Christi. Look, here's a San Antonio first responder. He's number 29's. I don't know where he's going. He's going directly into the fire ground zone. Now, a few minutes ago, we saw a lot of brush truck type equipment being redeployed from the Old Corpus Christi Road area down south. They headed south towards Southton Road. So as you can see, it's a very fluid situation with things changing minute by minute. I also want to talk about the whole situation with regard to power, because just before I started talking, I looked at the CPS Energy outage map. There are 17,940 customers without power at this hour, and as you can imagine, with the winds blowing the way they are, that situation is going to continue to be a challenge for CPS Energy, because a lot of these power outages are caused at individual residences where power lines are being affected by high winds. And, you know, unfortunately, it's not something that CPS can take care of in one fell swoop. It's not like a main is down somewhere. A lot of these lines that are down are individual service lines. So those are the things that we are fighting with this afternoon as first responders do their best. Now, with regard to conditions that are on scene right here, as you can imagine, from Dunup Road, we're east of I-37. If you're familiar at all with this area, we are standing in the parking lot of the East Central Development Center. And so everything east of here, everything east of Dunup Road, that's where we're seeing across the entire eastern horizon here, just beyond this tree line, the entire eastern horizon is blanketed by a thick cloud of smoke, essentially from brush fires and grass fires. Now, there have been times throughout the afternoon where we have seen thick black smoke, and black smoke is usually indicative of either tire fires or structure fires. And I did talk with one woman. Her name was Lori. She came through here a minute ago. She was desperate to get into the fire ground over there, and they told her, no, you can't go in. And she said, well, my house is right there. And so she was forced to leave the area, couldn't get in to see whether she had a house left or not. She told me she just didn't know, and it was very hard to wait, so she was just going to go seek shelter with relatives somewhere. The other thing that happened within the last few minutes is that we did see one representative from Red Cross come through this intersection. I don't know where they were headed, and I don't know if there are any emergency evacuation shelters set up in this area. I know that the East Central School District has been talking with people about what to do in this area, and I know they sent out a notice for families who have children that take the bus, that they would be notifying individual families about how bus routes would be affected. But there are facilities out here in this part of the world from the school district. And what's behind me? Smoke? More smoke, yeah. So you can, Jean is telling me to look over my shoulder here, because right behind me on the eastern horizon, off east of Dunup Road, there's more smoke. And that's something that we've seen. You know, it gets better, it gets worse, it gets better, it gets worse. But mainly what we're seeing is just the entire eastern horizon blanketed by smoke. So that's what we have here. I would just urge you to be careful. You know, there's a lot of people under a lot of stress, and people aren't paying attention on the roads here. As I said, we have seen a couple of near misses at this intersection, and first responders are on the move, and they're trying to get water into this area. They've got tenders that carry large amounts of water. Those trucks are heavy. They can't stop or turn on a dime. If you see them in your rearview mirror, by all means give way to them, get out of their way, because they're trying to save lives and houses and businesses here. So that is the situation as it exists right now at Old Corpus Christi and Dunup, where the winds continue to push very dramatically. We're just hoping that everybody stays safe and can keep their families safe and keep in touch with folks. And remember, you know, there's a lot of phone outages and internet outages as well. I've seen that on all of the Facebook feeds. People are complaining about not being able to get through. So if you can't get through, it's a good reminder that you know, when we're not in a crisis situation, to have an emergency plan, have an evacuation plan with your family, make sure that you can stay in touch even if phones or the internet go down. So that is the situation as it exists. We're continuing to monitor. If things change, we will be back with you. Sue Kalberg reporting from the corner of Dunup Road and Old Corpus Christi in southeast Bexar County.
Thank you so much, Sue. Yeah, so conditions. The weather is just not helping. Yes, it's clear outside. We had a couple of morning showers at like 5 a.m., but things have cleared out. And the big weather story is the winds. I mean, we've seen wind gusts near 35 to 40 miles an hour. So below me, you're seeing live conditions at I-37 at Southton. That's where this wildfire was reported, southeast San Antonio. And then to my left and your right, it's showing the fire weather outlook. Fire danger, it's critical in our part of Texas. And matter of fact, it's for a huge chunk of Texas. Anywhere from West Texas, Big Bend National Park area, all the way down to the valley, we're all underneath a high level, matter of fact, an extreme level of fire danger. So what does this mean for you and me? Avoid any outdoor burning. Obviously, a lot of us don't do that, but also, more importantly, don't drive over tall grass. This happens a lot when a lot of people stop on the side of the road, if maybe they blow out their tire. Obviously, you can't avoid that, but if you can avoid driving over any areas of tall grass, because remember, your car, it's warm, it's hot. I mean, the engine, the catalytic converter at the bottom of your car, it's popping hot. It's like 900 degrees to 1,000 degrees. And then when you mix that in, right, that combination of the hot car with tall grass that's on the side of the road, and pretty much everywhere across San Antonio, that friction, that difference in heat, how hot your car is passing over tall grass, which, by the way, is in drought. I mean, we're in extreme drought, so we have an extreme threat of fire danger, and also we have an extreme level of drought across the area, which is resulting in this right here. So red flag warnings, pretty much where you saw that critical extreme fire weather threat. Now, I do want to show you, we were talking about the drought. How bad is it? So let me show you what it looks like now. And also starting off with what it looked like 6 months ago. So back in August, it wasn't bad. We were doing okay. We had one pocket of extreme drought, but fast forward to now, to today, March 4th, 2025. It is extreme. And why this is important, because when we're rebounding from winter, I mean, spring officially starts on March 20th, but we're recovering from winter, that's when it could be a problem, because the grass, the vegetation, the ground is so dry, and we didn't even see much rainfall. We saw a couple of showers here and there. I think about 1.75 inches of rain for San Antonio for, a majority of the winter season. So that's not a lot. We do need like 4 or 5 to amount to average for the winter season. And as a result of the lack of rain is this right here, the extreme drought. Maverick County, Frio County, Medina County, Bandera, all the way to I-35, which does include San Antonio, Wilson County, and Guadalupe County. And I mention those because those will be areas to watch very closely in the coming hours. Because remember, where are these winds coming from? They're coming in from the west, the northwest. And why that's important, that'll usher in drier air, 1, and then 2, that may carry any embers from where the fire is at right now in south and southeast San Antonio towards Floresville, towards Seguin, and likely in rural parts of specifically Wilson County and Guadalupe County and eastern Bexar County. I think that's where we have to watch it the most. But again, right now we're watching a wildfire in southeast San Antonio, I-37 at Southton, southern Bexar County, southern San Antonio, with wind speeds at that range, 35 to 40 miles an hour.
We have Mike Jimenez live from that location, ready to go.
All right. All right, Mike Jimenez is live on KENS 5 right now. Let me toss it over to Mike. Mike, what are you seeing and what are conditions like at the fire?
Well, thank you, Ryan. So we are here on 37 and Southton Road at a gas station here where Southton and Dunlop Road intersect here. And so we've been here just about 20 minutes, and what we have seen here is that the people have started to gather here, those that have been evacuated. We spoke with a woman just a short time ago that explained that she lives just down the road here and that she received a couple of messages on her phone, went outside and then saw some ashes, so she immediately knew that she had to get here, and so she came here to this gas station. Let me go ahead and show you this road here is being blocked off by Bexar County deputies, but in the last few minutes or so it has opened up and they are now allowing people to enter this apartment complex here. But just above the apartment complex you can kind of see some smoke that is kind of billowing over the complex. We don't know exactly how far away that danger is, but it doesn't seem to be affecting these residents here in this apartment complex. Now, we were told just a short time ago that we are expecting to get a briefing here from the Public Information's office from the fire department, so we may get a little bit of more insight into exactly what is going on here. But as you can see around this gas station parking lot, you know, there have been a lot of cars that are gathering here. There's definitely a lot of chaos and confusion from some of these residents as to what they should be doing. Like I said, when I spoke with Miss Ruth Chavez just a short time ago, she was able to kind of paint a picture of what they're feeling, because she mentioned that when she had to evacuate, I mean, she didn't have time to grab anything. Only her immediately medical needs for her father, who is in a wheelchair, and then also her mother that has dementia. And so they just, you know, grabbed a couple of animals and actually had to leave behind some animals. So there's some real concern there from her. She said she's lived in this area for quite a long time. And so it's certainly some scary moments, not just for her, but for many of these residents that have gathered here. And like I said, once again, this is on 37 and Southton Road, where it intersects Dunlop Road, but the entire area that is being cordoned off also includes Strake Road and also Old Corpus Christi Road. It is about an area that is about 1.25 miles in acreage that is under threat right now. And so, like I said, we're here at this gas station just kind of monitoring the situation. We definitely hope that we will get an update soon as to give us just a little bit of insight of exactly what is going on here. But we will continue to stay here throughout the evening as this danger progresses. So be sure to stay tuned with us through our evening newscast. We'll keep you updated and also online and on KENS 5 Plus as well. Live from Southton Road and 37, I'm Mike Jimenez, KENS 5. We'll go ahead and send it back to you, Ryan, in the studio.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so winds are the primary component that's just really ushering in one dry air and contributing to this extreme erratic fire weather behavior out there. And right now, winds are at 36 miles an hour. I do want to mention a couple of things that were sent into our newsroom. This was sent out by the City of San Antonio. We talked about this earlier. For those who have been evacuated on I-37 at Southton Road, in that area, a temporary shelter has been established at the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. The address is 10040 Espada Road. Just to reiterate that one more time, for those who were evacuated on the I-37 and Southton Road area, a temporary shelter has been established at the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. Again, the address is 10040 Espada Road. Just for friends, family, loved ones that are impacted by this particular wildfire. It doesn't happen a lot in San Antonio, so when it does, we have to take it very seriously. So again, we have updates and also another evacuation due to a separate fire near the Atascosa County line, southern Bexar County, but near the Atascosa County line, the 600 block of Duke Road in South Bexar County between Trumbo Road and Pleasanton Road. So again, South Bexar County, that was an additional evacuation due to a separate fire near Atascosa County line. So we're watching that very closely because again, the fire that's in southeast Bexar County, some of those embers can travel farther east and cause separate fires. So we're watching that very closely. But those are the winds, right? 36 in the city and 41 near Atascosa County as well.
Ryan, this update just in from CPS tells us 18,000 customers are now without power across our area.
Wow, okay. According to CPS, 18,000 customers are without power. Why? It's because of the winds, right? And you just saw about 2 minutes ago, those wind speeds are howling. They're moving at like 40, 50 miles an hour. And while this doesn't happen very often, wildfires can be a problem, and as a result of this, but also power outages, power lines, down power lines, trees also moving. Sometimes you have tree limbs that are just kind of hanging on the side of the roads, and those can act as projectiles moving down the road, impacting barriers, power lines, and things like that. And with winds near tropical storm force, like 39 miles an hour, that can happen. So please, when you're on your way home from work today, or if you're doing anything this evening, be very careful, especially driving. You can feel the wind when you're driving on the side of the road with winds at this speed, 35, 45 miles an hour. But just to reiterate, while we're doing this here on KENS 5, we have an evacuation that was ordered for a wildfire on the far south side of Bexar County near I-37 at Southton Road. High winds, I mean, a true problem. We'll go back to that and show you what the wind speeds are at as of 3:26 Tuesday afternoon. They're fluctuating, but really because of a front this morning that's just driving in one dry air and then increasing that speed, double digits, 35, 40, 45 miles an hour. And just one more update again, guys. We talked about this about 3 minutes ago. Sent out by the City of San Antonio. For those who have been evacuated on the I-37 and Southton Road area where the wildfire is at, for those who have evacuated, a temporary shelter has been established at the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. That's 10040 Espada Road. So if you have any friends, family, loved ones that were evacuated due to this fire, 10040 Espada Road is an area, a temporary shelter where they can just sit back and just have somewhere to go for the next coming hours as first responders fight this wildfire. Again, I-37, Southton Road, southeast San Antonio. So those are the winds. I mean, that's the culprit, right? The reason why we're seeing elevated critical fire weather conditions. I'm going to go back right here. So these are the red flag warnings that are in effect, but it's not just here. Most of the state is in some degree of drought, some worse than others. San Antonio, our local area, is extreme drought, so it's terrible. It's bad. It's dry vegetation, dry land. We talked about this earlier. Avoid driving over tall grass because with drought in place and these winds just howling 40 miles an hour with the occasional gust, embers that start up if you're driving over tall grass. Remember, your car is hot when it's driving on the highway, right? And so if you stop on the road, of course, you can't avoid if there's a flat tire. But if you're driving over tall grass, that friction from your car, which is hot, and the friction of the dry vegetation, the dry grass below it, it's just not a good combination. So avoid outdoor burning. Don't leave fires unattended tonight, tomorrow morning. And again, just be very careful when driving out there. A lot of the times in spring and summertime, you'll see grass fires just pop up on the side of the road. You'll be driving down I-37, 281, 35, 1604, and you'll see grass fires that pop up randomly, and you're like, well, where do they pop up from? It's because people are driving over tall grass, usually accidentally, but that can still cause a problem. That can still cause sparks, embers, with how hot your car is and how dry the air is. That can cause concerns and problems out on the road. So those are sustained wind speeds. Here are the wind gusts near 36 to 40 across the area. I mean, take a look at that. Here's a live shot of what we're seeing. So that you can see the smoke, kind of the haze in the atmosphere. And this is also impacting air quality. And not just for San Antonio. The fire's happening in South San Antonio, so 37 and Southton Road. And this is going to transport, usher in smoke anywhere towards Pleasanton, towards Floresville, Seguin. If you suffer from asthma, COPD, emphysema, that can be a problem. That can cause labored breathing. For anyone who suffers from any respiratory illness, that can be a problem. So be careful. Avoid any Outdoor burning, we talked about that. Avoid driving over tall grass. And if you suffer from any respiratory illness like COPD or any labored breathing like asthma, just limit time outdoors, because again, winds are breezy. It's gonna drive and transport smoke in different directions, especially east of San Antonio. But the extreme fire danger, it's going to be a problem. Wildfires will spread rapidly, and we're seeing that real time in southern San Antonio. Avoid outdoor burning. This will contribute to elevated extreme fire weather behavior. And we talked about this earlier. You know, do not throw lit cigarettes out the window. You see that a lot, right? You see that on the highway a lot when you're at a stoplight. Do not throw lit cigarettes out the window because, for obvious reasons, the grass is dry, it's drought. That can cause a fire rapidly. That can just cause something so quick. Do not park or drive over tall grass. Do not leave campfires unattended. San Antonio is, in fact, under a burn ban right now. It's not everywhere, especially for counties east of I-35, towards like Gonzales, for example, towards Houston. I don't think those counties are under a ban, but anywhere around San Antonio, for sure, and then pointing west. The drought across the Rio Grande is terrible. It's just like San Antonio where it's extreme. It's not at the exceptional category. It's not at the worst category, but it is at an extreme level, which will be a problem. So burn bans are in place. Don't leave campfires or any fire unattended for that matter in the area. So we were talking about the wind speeds. This is a look and outlook. This is a daily update from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Notice the entire state just lighting up, right? I mean, anywhere from Dallas to here and all the way down in the valley and towards Del Rio and the Rio Grande. The entire Rio Grande is underneath favorable conditions for fire weather concerns. And notice every single county, it's in red, right? That is dangerous, critical fire weather concerns that will be a problem over the coming hours. And I don't foresee this being a problem tomorrow. However, it might return Friday and Saturday with winds near like 25, 30 miles an hour. So we're definitely watching that very closely. Weather Service had this yesterday, but it's really expanded. It started out out west, but it really expanded towards east, towards Houston. And notice, red flag warnings just engulfing the entire state. And just to reiterate, guys, for those who have evacuated the I-37 and Southton area, a temporary shelter has been established at Mission Espada Fellowship Hall, 140 Espada Road. That's if anyone, friends, family, loved ones have been relocated or just have been evacuated from that area where the wildfire is at, a temporary shelter has been established at Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. Sue Kalberg is live at the wildfire. Sue, what are you seeing out there?
What I'm seeing is continued high winds and continued a very fluid situation. This is Rosanna. She's been here in the parking lot with us. There's an entire parking lot here of people who are waiting to get in, waiting to get out. Tell me what's going on with you. You're waiting for your kids.
Yeah, so the kids are coming right on the bus right now. My landlord called, and also my neighbor called that they're evacuating and that there's a fire coming around. So I'm watching it get worse and go down.
So your house is down there in the fire zone?
Further down. We're about 2 miles from 281.
So as you're waiting for your kids, what's going through your mind? Do you know if you even have a house?
Hopefully I do. I am praying. I'm asking and I'm praying and I'm saying, well, for now, get the kids. We can worry about the rest later. Let God take care of it.
So it's been scary, though, to get information. It's been hard to get information, hasn't it?
I'm looking at the map, the radar, nothing. So there's really nothing going on.
There's a bus. Is that your kids?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go see if I can grab them.
All right, be safe. Don't get run over.
Thank you.
All right, there are some children on the bus. So Rosanna, like many people in this area, she's just praying and hoping for good results when they're finally able to get into the fire ground. Now, I want to talk about exactly where we are for starters, because we're at the corner of Drought Road and Old Corpus Christi Road. We are east of I-37, and if you can see the horizon over there, the whole eastern horizon really is full of smoke. This fire has been really just eating away at territory since about the noon hour. I heard the first call for a fire on Drought Road sometime right after the stroke of 12 noon. And so since that time, it has been a runaway scrape, if you will, with people just trying to get in the area, get out of the area, get to their kids. I've talked to moms who were away from home when the fire started. They were trying to get back into the fire zone to get to their kids. I've talked to moms who are having a great deal of trouble communicating because internet service is down, maps aren't working right, it's hard to get good information. There was a mistaken alert sent out by Bexar County that included the whole county as a fire evacuation area, and really the evacuation zone is this area where we're standing in southeast Bexar County. It's Old Corpus Christi Road, Dunnup Road, Southton Road, the areas that are east of I-37. And there are also evacuations underway, not evacuations rather, but a fire ground underway in Atascosa County as well, northern Atascosa County. My friends at the Pleasanton Express, look, there she is. Isn't that a happy scene? Look at those little babies.
They're safe.
They're safe, all right. That's the answer to a prayer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, it sure is.
All right, so you can't go home though.
No, and I don't know how long this will last, but at least we'll be together.
That's got to be a big relief.
One more kid to get, and then my dad's up the road. Maybe we could stay there, depending on how bad it is. Woo! Yep.
Yeah. So we're hoping that Dad's house will be okay and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Safe on the road. Take a deep breath. You know what they say? Smell the roses, blow out the candles before you start driving, so you'll be safe with your little ones. Good luck, guys. So that's one happy ending for now. I will also say, with regard to shelters, I did see one person, one car from the Red Cross go into the fire zone a little while ago. So there is that to consider. Now, let me go back to Atascosa County for just a minute. They are reporting structure fires. I know we have a crew on the way to Atascosa County. Structure fires at Big Leaf and Peaceful Lane, and in Jourdanton, the Atascosa County Courthouse has been closed down because of power and internet issues. There are a number of other county offices in the Jourdanton and Atascosa County area that are closed down. And with regard to making your way through this fire zone, I can tell you that Google Maps is having a little trouble keeping up. For example, the last time I checked the map, this intersection, Dunnup and Old Corpus Christi, was still listed as being open, but as you can see, there's a motorman over there who has got traffic completely blocked off. Now, I want to talk about one other person that I talked to earlier who has left the area. She is seeking shelter with her family. That would be a woman named Lori. She was pointing just over that tree line, and she was expressed the frustrations of many who have come here looking for information or just trying to get home. And she said that her house is beyond that tree line over there, and where the smoke is, where you can see the smoke. And I don't know, can use way back off in the distance. This is what we've seen all afternoon. We've seen, you know, primarily light gray smoke, which is always a sign of brush fires or grass fires. And then off and on throughout the afternoon, I don't know what's burning out there in the brush, but occasionally we have seen black, heavy black smoke come up and then go down again. So I'm hoping that that would be trash piles or tires or something, and not structures. That's the challenge before us, is that nothing is flying in these high winds. It's hard to do reconnaissance in these types of conditions, and that's what firefighters are battling. And they're also, you know, water supply is an issue anytime you battle a brush fire, because out in these rural areas where there are no structures, that also means a lot of times there are no fire hydrants, there are no ready sources of water. And that, you know, I'm seeing an RV go by just down the street here. There's a very large RV park with plenty of very expensive vehicles in it. And I know here's another example of the cooperation in mutual aid. We have people from San Antonio, we have people from Bexar County, we have San Antonio firefighters, we have firefighters from all of the area ESDs out here that are fighting these fires. And look, there's more black smoke on the horizon. Can you see that? There's the black smoke is picking up again. So I'm just hoping that those are tires or some other kind of trash fire and not somebody's home. That, of course, is the concern with people who have already evacuated. We just have a few folks here in this parking lot. We're standing at the corner, and it's the East Central Development Center at this corner, and there are maybe half a dozen cars with people who have essentially taken shelter in their cars. They've told me, you know, they can't get home, they don't have anywhere to go, they don't want to leave the area. They want to be very close here so that when the roads open up again or when the situation gets under control, they'll be able to go back home. But it's unclear how many people are out of the fire zone right now, but that's what people are, county officials and city officials are worried about. That's why they did issue an emergency evacuation order for this general area, because they absolutely do not have a handle on the situation as it exists right now. That says Legacy Site Work, that is a 2,000 gallon tanker. Maybe I don't know if they're helping with the fire or not, and I don't know who this emergency guy is. We've also seen, that says fire, it's got a star on it. That looks like a command vehicle. Another thing that we've seen out here is a lot of electrical service trucks. As you can well imagine, they've had quite a bit of trouble today keeping track of downed power lines. There are power lines that are going down because of the wind. People are losing service because of downed power lines. Sometimes power lines snap and they start additional grass fires, which seemed to be the case earlier. When this fire first got started, the first responders who were trying to get here had a great deal of trouble initially just trying to figure out where to go, because as they were trying to get here, they were taking calls from people that said, oh, the fire is here, the fire is there, the fire is there. In the beginning hours, it seemed like we had multiple sources of ignition. So that's what they're doing. They're hopscotching from one place to another, trying to get out ahead of it and stop it from spreading further to the south and east. And this thing is almost blowing me over. That's indicative of how serious the winds are here. I mean, just, the fact that my hair is crazy. That's just a little bit of a taste of how the winds are blowing here. But, I'm trying to shield the microphone so you can hear me talk. So that's what we know at this moment. We are continuing to talk to people. We're continuing to hope for the best. We're continuing to wish people safety and safe travels. This intersection has been calm for the last few minutes, but earlier in the afternoon, we did have quite a few incidents where people weren't quite paying attention. They're panicked. They're either trying to get home or away. They're trying to get to their kids. And, traffic lights are down, traffic signals are down. People don't know how to navigate without their maps. The maps aren't accurate. They're being turned away at barricades. So as we work our way through this and get into the evening hours, I would just say heed the evacuation warnings. If it's possible to go shelter with family, that would be a good idea, and stay completely away from this area as the first responders try to get a handle on this. These brush trucks, these water tenders, these water haulers, they weigh thousands, tens of thousands of pounds when they're full. And these guys, they can't avoid you. They can't turn on a dime. They can't stop on a dime. And so it's important to pay particular attention if you're on the road in this area, so that you can get out of their way and allow them to do the job of saving everybody else's house and lives, and take care of each other as we continue on here. We will be here throughout the afternoon, live on all of our newscasts, on all of our platforms. Stay with us here on KENS 5. This is Sue Kalberg at the corner of Old Corpus Christi and Donop Road.
All right, thank you so much, Sue. We are live here on KENS 5 monitoring the situation. It's a wildfire, and as a matter of fact, it's been jumping from spot to spot. And on the phone with me is KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs. Zach, where are you, and what are you seeing right now?
I'm seeing a lot of chaos right now, Ryan. We're off of Big Leaf Road and near Peaceful Lane in Atascosa County. In fact, right now, I'm looking at a massive structure just completely engulfed in flames, and we have a band of volunteer firefighters and residents, it looks like, working together to try to contain this blaze. But as you've been reporting, among others, these strong winds are making it very difficult for firefighters to extinguish and even contain this blaze. And again, we're talking about, according to Atascosa County officials, 7 to 10 structures throughout this area that have been destroyed. And I say structures because I don't know exactly if all of them are homes. I did speak with a couple of people, and they live in this area. Thankfully, they were not home. They were at the store, but they got word from a loved one that their home was on fire. So at this point, as far as injuries, unaware, but just looking at these flames right now, just absolutely wild. And just the smoke, thick and black, billowing in the air. So it's quite the scene out here. But it seems like there's a sense of resiliency among community members that I've talked to so far, but many folks are just not wanting to talk, understandably, at this moment, as they try to pay attention as to what's happening with their homes, and obviously trying to pitch in if they can, using anything, buckets of water or the hoses in their front or backyards to assist firefighters.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best way to battle this fire, is to create a wetter environment to help create a better environment to help extinguish these fires. But Zach, let me tell you, and let me ask, around you, you're seeing smoke, but I'm sure around you the grass is tall, maybe the grass is dry, the vegetation's dry, we're in extreme drought. This is all favorable for wildfires. So on top of the wildfire and the smoke you're seeing and the structures as well, around you it's very, very dry, correct?
Absolutely. I'm not seeing much tall vegetation, but the vegetation I'm seeing is dry.
Right.
I'll just tell you that. And definitely not making things easier in terms of serving as additional tender for these fires.
And just to and just to reiterate one more time, Zach, tell the viewers, for those who are just joining in, where you are, you're not in Southern Bexar County, you're closer to Atascosa County, and that's additional structures that are on fire.
Right, we're in Atascosa County, Big Leaf Road and near Peaceful Lane, and it's just one of many areas, according to officials and residents, that have fire crews on scene trying to contain the blaze, extinguish, and assess. It's a quick-moving situation. I mean, when we got here, I'd say maybe 40 minutes ago, and we passed this certain home that was not engulfed in flames.
Right.
Now we're trying to make our way back outside of this area, and got a call from you, and we see such a destructive scene in front of us, and we see just residents all around.
Yeah.
And getting out of the cars, some of them quite visibly distraught.
Yeah.
And it's vital for folks, obviously, to take precaution and be safe when we're out here, including us.
Yeah, just one more thing, Zach. You know, the original fire started maybe around 1:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere around that time window. That was, I-37 at Southton and Southern Bexar County. And you mentioned you got there about 40 minutes ago. So this fire, it's not in one place, it's in many. And these embers are jumping from spot to spot. You mentioned the winds are high. I mean, they're howling out there. I mean, what I'm looking at right now are wind gusts, sustained wind gusts, 35, 40, 45 miles an hour where you are. So, I mean, these high winds can definitely pose a problem, specifically on wildfires and the fires that you're seeing at the structures, correct?
Absolutely. The winds are just not making it easy by
No.
any means.
For first responders, for firefighters out there, I'm sure they're battling the scene right now from what you're seeing, and the billowing smoke as well, is right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach, so much for your help and for helping us cover this wildfire event across South Texas.
We'll be safe.
You too, sir. Thank you, sir. And so there's a live shot right below me, and then there's wind gusts across Bexar County. That's 34 at the airport, 39 at Pleasanton, 43 at Del Rio, 38 at Cotulla, 43 at George West. So these are winds that are just not good for fire weather. I mean, we talked about it with Zach, right? I mean, these winds help carry embers in that direction towards the east. So southern Atascosa County, and then more importantly, I think Guadalupe County and Wilson County will have to be watched very closely, because if our fire is in southern Bexar County, anywhere south and east, mostly east of San Antonio, is where some of those embers can be picked up in the air and then they can travel, and that can be a concern out there this evening.
We're going to be going to SAFD shortly.
Okay.
With an update.
To square miles involved at the very worst, and it is contained at this time. Units did a tremendous job putting the fire out and have made significant progress. So that at this time they're just still putting out hot spots.
And any idea of exactly how many homes were in danger or evacuated?
Preliminary reports is 6, and that's 2 mobile homes, 2 homes, and 1 shed.
Do you know of any injuries or anything related to
No injuries have been reported at this time.
And from
the start of the blaze until you guys got it contained, how long would you say that process took?
I would probably say a couple hours. Yes, and we brought in some state assets as well, so they're assisting with fire extinguishment.
What's the big factor for the firefighters to struggle within the fire?
For the what? I'm sorry.
What was the biggest struggle for the firefighters?
Definitely the wind. It is extremely challenging, and right when we think we have it contained, you know, there's hot spots that units continuously try to extinguish, and it's just it's very difficult to contain a fire like this, especially with wind speeds. We have gusts up to 40 miles per hour, and they're expected to sustain that speed till probably this evening sometime. Yes.
Any idea how long it will take to finish off those hot spots?
I know we're going to stay out here all night just to make sure that the fire completely extinguished.
What about
yes.
evacuations? Any idea when the residents?
That is hard to say right now. It just depends on wind speed and fire containment, and we'll continue to work at the hot spots, but you know, we'll likely lift the evacuation as soon as possible. We do have a shelter set up at Mission Espada, so residents in the area were notified via mass notification system to evacuate the area. They were also provided with the evacuation shelter location. But once we have more information, we'll continue to keep everybody updated on conditions and when it's safe to return to their homes.
In your experience, have you ever seen anything like this before?
I actually have, but it's been a long time, and wind speed today, like I said, it is really, really difficult to manage a fire like this.
Will
yes.
people come through this area with questions of what they should do, where they should go? What would you say to those people who've been keeping up on social media?
I would say if you're in or you live in this area to stay away for now or to go to the evacuation shelter, because with the wind speed it's very difficult to determine, you know, the direction of the fire and if it's going to spread or not. It always has a potential.
Do we have any idea as to what caused it, or did you already touch on that? I'm sorry.
No, I have not touched on that, but no, it is. We don't have a fire cause at this time or an origin.
Any idea how much acreage did burn out of that 1 to 2?
No, I have no idea. I would say it is contained, so I'll have a better idea on the area that is affected probably in the next hour or so.
We keep seeing these. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We keep seeing these large plumes of black smoke occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Is that any concern?
No, sir. That is actually part of the containment process. And that's actually fires that are being lit by crews on scene, just to kind of force the direction of the fire.
And what tactics have you guys used? Have you been cutting lines around the fire, or how did you guys work to contain it?
Recognizing just areas that are good fire breaks, and that being either roadways or there's also some train tracks back there, but it did jump over the tracks at some point because of the winds.
And how confident are you in the fact that this fire won't or might not reignite as the day keeps going and winds continue?
It is very hard to say, but units are on top of it, and they're doing a great job with containment, and they're being very aggressive. So I really don't suspect that that's going to be an issue.
And I'm so sorry if you already said this, but were any homes affected by the fire?
Yes, we had, 2 mobile homes, 2 residential homes, and a shed involved in fire. So I think maybe a total of 5 or 6.
Do you expect that to grow at all?
No, I do not. No. At this time, there are no other homes that are threatened by fire.
Do you know about how many people were affected by the evacuation order overall?
I do not, but I'm waiting on that number. As soon as they get to the shelter, I'll get updated with a count. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Trying to be like,
no, I know. We're all trying to get in there. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I'll continue to provide updates, or a member of the command staff
Okay.
will come back.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
But I'll leave it.
Chief.
And that was SAFD with a report and updates on some of the fires out there in southern San Antonio towards Atascosa County. Just another update, guys. We talked about this earlier. For those who have been evacuated from the I-37 area at Southton Road, a temporary shelter has been established at the Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. That's 10040 Espada Road. And then on top of that, another evacuation due to a separate fire near Atascosa County. So between the Bexar County, Atascosa County line, 600 block of Duke Road in South Bexar County between Trump Road and then Pleasanton Road. So again, we're watching that very closely. We'll have additional updates and extended coverage on KENS 5 News at 4 as well. So that's a look at some of the wind gusts out there, right? So right now it's gusty, near about 40 miles an hour in San Antonio. 37 towards Uvalde. So again, we talked about the drought. It's bad everywhere, from San Antonio to the Rio Grande. It's extreme. Matter of fact, let me show you that before we wrap things up. Again, guys, we'll have extended coverage on KENS 5 News at 4 in about a couple of minutes with Sarah Fergani, our reporters Sue Kalberg, Mike Jimenez, Zach Briggs are all live on the scene. This was the drought 6 months ago. Fast forward to today. That's how bad it is. And this is a tinderbox for fire weather. Remember, it's a couple of moving factors, right? It's strong winds, which, by the way, we have at the surface, 40 miles an hour on those gusts. It's also the dry grass, the dry vegetation, which is a result of the drought, which, by the way, you can see is extreme anywhere from here to Austin, Uvalde, Eagle Pass, Maverick County, all the way up into Travis County towards San Antonio and Austin. So we're in a perfect place, unfortunately, for fire weather, critical fire danger concerns. I think we'll be better tomorrow, but we'll have to watch this very closely by Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't think by the end of the week wind speeds will be that fast, that high, but it will be gusty on Friday with winds near 25, maybe 30 miles an hour in the San Antonio area and across south central Texas as well. Again, guys, that is the current drought report. Here's one last look at some of the wind speeds out there. Again, that's a live look at I-37 and Southton Road. You can see the smoke billowing in and out from the fire and in San Antonio and southern Bexar County. So again, we have extended coverage on KENS 5 News at 4. We'll see you later. Good?
From San Antonio's own KENS 5, this is the News at 4.
And right now, first at 4, a fast-moving brush fire burning right now in southeast Bexar County. An evacuation order has been issued while concerns continue to grow over the fire quickly spreading. It has been fueled by powerful winds and has been burning for several hours now. Families in that area around I-37 and Southton Road have been told to evacuate. We're also now hearing from East Central ISD that bus routes have been affected. As a matter of fact, I'm just getting a text as we speak that after-school tutoring is now canceled at all campuses at East Central ISD, according to spokesperson Brandon Oliver from there. And again, those bus routes that are being impacted, parents have been contacted. Now, we've had crews on the scene all afternoon. We continue our team coverage now as firefighters work to get that fire under control. Bill Taylor has an update on just how long those strong winds will last. Roxy Van Rooten keeping an eye on the roads as we speak. But first, I want to head out to reporter Sue Kalberg, who's been on the scene for hours monitoring that situation. She joins us live right now from the area of Southton and I-37 where that fire broke out. Sue, what's the latest from you?
Thanks, Sarah. We are standing at the corner of Drought and Old Corpus Christi. Southton is one intersection just south of us here. I just want to say that one thing that has changed in the last few minutes is that You know, now is the time of day when people are getting off work, and people who have not been tuned in to the news this afternoon, who haven't been paying attention, we are seeing a huge tick in traffic just in the last few minutes of people coming into this zone. And so if this is your first view of what's going on here, I just want to repeat, in addition to this corner where I am at Drought and Old Corpus Christi roads, there are a lot of mandatory evacuation zones. This one including the 24,000 block of Oliver Road, Blackjack Road, South Bexar County, that's by 281 in Mogford, 15,200 Belen in South Bexar County near FM 1937 in Blue Wing, that's further south of us, the 600 block of Duke Road in South Bexar County between Trumbo and Pleasanton. There's also a mandatory evacuation way over on the southwest side of the county, Greenwood Road, and that's in southwest Bexar County near Pearsall Road. And so what we have seen here in this location throughout the afternoon is just a constant stream of first responders. There are emergency service district people and San Antonio firefighters all engaged in a very aggressive mutual aid campaign to bring a stop to this very aggressive fire that started during the noon hour. We've talked to a lot of desperate people who are trying to get just beyond that tree line over there to this big, it's a rural area, but there are plenty of people who live in the evacuation zone over here. And so they've been pulling up to these barricades, they've been trying to get in, they've been trying to get information. Not only is it difficult to get information on the phone or by internet because service is down, but Google Maps is not keeping track and not giving people real-time information. So people are confused, and they are, and as you can see in the distance, the entire skyline really is full of smoke. Sometimes we have seen black smoke indicating either structures or tire fires, and sometimes we have seen gray smoke indicating brush fires. And so they just have their hands full. You know, one of the problems that they've had is just water supplies, because brush trucks rely on tenders and water supplies that come from far away. So they've just had their hands full today. And I just want to remind everybody to give these first responders plenty of room. These trucks are heavy, they can't stop or turn on a dime. So if you're in the fire zone, if you have to come here, be safe and be prepared for the long haul, and maybe be prepared to seek shelter someplace else. With regard to evacuations and what people are doing to get away from here, my colleague Mike Jimenez is following that angle of the story. Mike has been on evacuations all afternoon.
Yes, thank you, Sue, for that update. Now, we are here at a gas station which is on the corner of 37 and Southton, where Drought Road intersects Southton Road. Now, we've been here for about the last hour and a half, and it seems like this is kind of a makeshift place where people have gathered here that were evacuated from that fire. Now, let me go ahead and step out of the way so you can take a look here. The road is blocked off here. There is an apartment complex here. Bexar County deputies are here securing the area there. We just got an update from Chief Valerie Frausto, and the biggest update is she's telling us that that fire is now contained, but firefighters do plan to be out here throughout the night. She says that they're currently battling hot spots. Now, this apartment complex is open. We've seen activity going there. There doesn't seem to be any type of urgency there with the residents there. The chief tells us that that apartment complex is not in danger, that the fire is further on down the road there. Now, while we were here, we spoke with some residents. There's obviously a little bit of chaos and a little bit of uncertainty there, and also a little bit of fear from these residents because in the last, we spoke with a woman, her name was Ruth Chavez, who says that she received a couple of text messages on her phone, and she just got out of her house after walking out and seeing ashes. And she has a couple of relatives that are disabled. Her father is in a wheelchair and her mother has dementia. So she grabbed them, got out of the house, grabbed two of her pets, and also just came here to this gas station. Let's hear exactly what she had to say about her evacuation.
I was sitting under my garage and I started smelling smoke, and I'm like, oh my God, they just said on the news to not burn. So I started smelling smoke, and I called my granddaughter, which they live right up the road, and I told her, Mama, look outside. And she said it was all under fire. So she got out, and then she came over to my house, and then we live upstairs, so we could see all the fire and the smoke. And then on my phone it started saying to evacuate. So we just got what I got and got out of there. But it's a little scary. Yeah.
And so, speaking of those, what were the moments like for you, just gathering just what you could? Can you kind of...
I really didn't gather nothing. I just told my husband, because we live upstairs and I have the chairs that he's got to come down on. And my mom that has dementia, I had to get her out, and it takes me a bit to get her downstairs. And we just got in the truck and left. I left everything. Everything's there.
Now what you're seeing right here is a live look of Southton Road. It is blocked off right after this apartment complex. Now the biggest update, if you weren't listening just a little while ago or just tuning in, is that the fire is now contained. Chief Valerie Frausto spoke with us just a few moments ago. She says that firefighters are currently battling hot spots. And of course, the biggest factor that has contributed to the difficulty of fighting this fire is definitely the winds. She says that they've had up to 40-50 mile per hour winds, and they expect those winds to be increasing here in the next few hours. That's why she says firefighters do plan to be out here for quite some time. The area that was in danger of being burned is about 1 to 2 acres in square miles, in acreage. And the one thing that we did ask her is if there was any type of cause yet that has been determined. She says that unfortunately they have not been able to determine the cause of that fire. But for those residents that are having to evacuate, there is an evacuation shelter which has been set up. It's a temporary shelter at Mission Espada Fellowship Hall. That's at 10,040 Espada Road. So if you know somebody who's been affected and they're unsure of where to go, you can send them there. It's exactly unclear as to how long it will take before the residents that have been affected will be allowed back into their homes. But for now, we'll go ahead and send it back to you, Sarah, in the studio. Live from the south side of Bexar County, Mike Jimenez, KENS 5.
That's important new information there from Mike, that specific fire has been contained. We'll be staying on top of it. Mike, thank you so much. However, we are now just getting word of yet another evacuation order for a second fire in South Bexar County now near the Atascosa County line. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says there's now a mandatory evacuation order in the 600 block of Duke Road between Trumbo and Pleasanton Roads. They say Bexar County deputies and first responders from the Bexar County Emergency Services District are working multiple fires around that area. We're going to continue to monitor any fires burning now and bring you updates as soon as we find out more. This is a live look outside our studios right now, and you could see those flags just whipping left and right. Strong winds. Weather Chief Bill Taylor joining us, and it's been like that all day. Bill, how long are these winds going to stay that strong?
Probably till about 8 or 9 p.m., Sarah. Right now we're looking at wind speeds 30 plus on these gusts. And they're not going to let up this afternoon. It's going to be tonight before they really do. And back to that live picture, just to show you what wind speeds we're looking at with these clear skies. Temperatures are in the mid 70s, but look at that. West wind at 31 miles per hour. That's sustained. Look at what's happening with the gusts up to 33, 37 Seguin, 38 at Hondo, 39 Rock Springs, 40s when you go down to the south and east between George West, Beeville, Victoria, and Port Lavaca. That's the reason why we have a red flag warning right through 9 p.m. tonight, because that's when we finally expect these wind gusts to get down under 20 miles per hour. But here's the thing. They're going to pick back up tomorrow morning. Look at the wind gusts at 7 a.m. Wednesday, upwards of 20 plus miles per hour. Some of these brush fires, of course, getting people to get a little rubbernecking going on the interstates. Let's check in on traffic with Roxy Van Rooten. Roxy?
Hey, Bill. Well, red flag warning is in effect, and we're continuing to monitor that brush fire on the south side of San Antonio. But there's also construction around this area, and we've also got that afternoon traffic. So this is causing major backups on I-37 and 410. Expect up to 20 minutes in delays. Let's take a look at those TransGuide cameras now on I-37 and Southton Road. You can see plenty of smoke, and emergency responders are still on site. So if you're heading this way, expect significant slowdowns. You might want to take Loop 1604 or Highway 87 as alternate routes to bypass the congestion. Sarah?
Okay, Roxy, thank you so much. Fires are not the only issue today. Strong winds also causing some damage not far from San Antonio. Check this out. This canopy collapsed at a gas station in Bernie. As a result, right now, city officials say North Main Street is closed in both directions at Adbot Street. No one was hurt, but people are being asked to avoid that area. Power outages, yet another problem we've seen throughout the morning, and they continue as we speak. At one point, the whipping winds had as many as 22,000 people without power. Right now, the CPS Energy website that you're looking at live shows there are 204 outages affecting more than 12,000 customers as we speak. Remember, safety first. CPS Energy says if you see a power line on the ground, stay away. Do not attempt to remove it. Instead, report it by calling their outage center, 210-353-HELP. That's 210-353-4357. Now, this is clearly a fluid situation as several fires are now burning. Be sure to stay with us on air on KENS5.com and on KENS 5 Plus on your TV. That is the app you can download on your TV for free as we continue to follow the latest on the fires and wind damage. Still ahead on KENS 5 News at 4, President Trump preparing to address a joint session of Congress in just hours from now. We're looking ahead at the live broadcast here on KENS 5. And welcome back. The other big story we're following on this Tuesday. President Trump is set to give a speech tonight in just under 4 hours from now before a joint gathering of Congress. It's his first since taking office for a second time. Tariffs are expected to be a talking point tonight. Plus, the Trump administration has paused military aid to Ukraine after Friday's contentious meeting with President Zelensky.
The president has been very clear he wants the Ukrainians to come to the negotiating table. I think when the Ukrainians come to the negotiating table, everything is on the table.
President Trump's domestic agenda is also expected to be front and center tonight, including efforts to shrink the size of the federal government, with over 20,000 employees being fired so far. You can watch President Trump's address tonight on KENS 5 television starting at 8 p.m. You can also watch it streaming on KENS 5 Plus. Download it now on your TV and watch it for free. When we come back, we're going to head back out live to the brush fires we're continuing to monitor in southeast Bexar County. Be sure to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Am I tossing to Mike Jimenez? Okay, thank you. Got it. Okay, very well. 1 minute.
I want to get back to that breaking news now of a brush fire in southeast Bexar County. We've been watching all morning. This is causing evacuations. I want to get back out to KENS 5 Sue Kalberg, who's live near the scene on I-37 and Southton Road, where this is all unfolding now. And Sue, what's the latest?
The latest is that the fire, they're calling it contained, and I'm just trying to shield the microphone because the winds are still buffeting out here. What I want you to look at is a little hot spot, what they call a hot spot, that has just popped up in the last 4 minutes. So even though they're calling this fire contained, we're seeing hot spots like this one right here, just a couple of 100 yards away. They're going to continue to have problems. So even though they're calling it officially contained, this isn't over yet, and people who are evacuated probably need to stay put because the roads around here are still closed down. So by the numbers, they're saying 2 homes destroyed, 1 shed, 182 people evacuated. And finally, what I need to tell you is that if you do need a place to shelter, there is a shelter that has been opened. Mission Espada Fellowship Hall, 10,040 Espada Road. It's much easier to get to a shelter and stay out of the danger zone. The first responders need the roads to be clear here, as they are still going for water and they are still trying desperately to contain all of these hot spots. We're going to continue to stay here and watch it. We'll be back with more updates as time allows. Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
All right, Sue, thank you so much. You can hear that wind whipping in the background, which is really, I mean, Bill, when you think about it, the dry conditions, the drought that we're in, the high winds, it's the perfect recipe for a brush fire like what we saw today.
All you need is one little spark. If someone's welding, someone throws a cigarette or cigar out the window, that's all you need, because everything is like a tinderbox. It's all like kindling wood out there. And once one spark ignites one branch, it's all it's going to take. And with these kind of winds, fanning these flames in a hurry. So we start with a weather impact alert that will continue through tonight with these high winds and low humidity, gusting near 35 to 40 miles per hour for the next several hours. You've got to avoid burning and just be very careful. Take a look at Old Glory, just right to left. That is a strong west wind right now at 31 miles per hour sustained. Dew points down to 24, so humidity only 14%. With the air temperature at 77. We've got winds gusting near tropical storm force at Seguin and New Braunfels, as well as San Marcos and Austin, right at tropical storm speed for Floresville, Pleasanton, and then some. 40 at George West, 41 at Beeville on the wind gusts. Caught this satellite image of the blowing dust. This is a dust storm. I mean, we don't see these too often around here, but you can actually see this line of dust right on through Fredericksburg and south into Medina, as well as Kendall counties. So it's just off to the east of Bernie and up I-35. So that's some clearing right there. But this is all the blowing dust from West Texas moving in our direction. Red flag warning until 9 p.m. that hour, because by then we're expecting these winds to start gusting down under 20 miles per hour, but that's still going to be a little on the breezy side, as will Wednesday morning. Look at that. Gusts over 20 miles per hour from San Antonio up the I-35 corridor, even closer to 30 once we get into mid-morning, and then the winds will subside just a bit as we get into tomorrow night, and then picking up again on Thursday. So we're definitely going to be dealing with some winds. Notice that the front is already into the Big Easy for Fat Tuesday, as a matter of fact. Cold front's going to be in southeast Louisiana now, completely dry behind this front. As skies will be clear tonight, we'll see some decent radiational cooling, probably send it down to about the low 50s to upper 40s. Maybe some mid 40s will be the coldest before a nice rebound into the 70s tomorrow afternoon. This air is staying dry. Take a look at dew points that are now in the 20s and are going to stay in the maybe up to 30s, but back down to the 20s tomorrow afternoon. This is a big area of low pressure. You can see it's swinging through North Texas, exploding some pretty big thunderstorms right across Dallas-Fort Worth. This line developed early this morning, and then we were on the tail end of it, just kind of getting clipped with a few early morning showers, and now you can see that dry air building in. So the 14-day forecast is just that, a very dry one, 51 to 73 for Wednesday with mostly sunny skies. Clouds will return on Thursday, 75, and the heat returns on Friday. That's going to be a southwest wind, takes us near 90 degrees for a high. That's out ahead of our next front, which offers up a slight chance of rain Friday night, early Saturday. Then you can see that things are cooler, but not by much. I mean, these are going to be seasonal temperatures right around the lower 70s to even upper 70s going into next week. Don't forget, too, we lose an hour this upcoming weekend. We're changing the clocks as we spring ahead. No big chance of rain on this 14-day forecast, but warm air. 2 big days in the mid-80s, Roxy. That's almost summer.
I know. I'm not liking that hour of sleep we're going to lose.
I don't like that either.
Nobody
exactly.
does.
Boycott it.
All right, let's talk traffic. Starting off on the north side, we're going to be seeing some closures starting this Friday on March 7th, and this is on the north side. So nightly closures from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., and this will become weekend closures as we head towards March 21st. So close the entire weekend. Keep that in mind if you live in La Cantera area. But back to the south side, monitoring that fire. There's also construction in this area, plus afternoon traffic. So we're seeing major backup in this area on I-37 and 410. Expect up to 20 minutes of delay. Let's take a look at those TransGuide cameras. I-37 at Southton Road. We're still seeing plenty of smoke and emergency responders on site. So if you're heading this way, expect significant slowdowns and you might want to find an alternate route. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
On KENS 5 News at 5, we continue our team coverage of evacuations in southeast Bexar County as firefighters work to contain a large brush fire that was burning earlier amid strong winds. We have several teams on the scene and in the studio now monitoring that situation. We're going to bring you the latest. That and more local news coming up tonight at 5. Right now in entertainment, the brutalist winner of 3 Academy Awards runs more than 3.5 hours, so maybe it should come as no surprise that its star, Adrien Brody, gave a long Oscar speech. In fact, Brody's acceptance of his Best Actor trophy lasted a whopping, get this guys, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The people at Guinness World Records are now confirming it was indeed the longest Oscar speech ever. For his part, Brody started by warning that there were a lot of people to thank. Also got some backlash over that. Not everybody was happy about it, but hey, congratulations, Sam, you won an Oscar. All right, today's also Fat Tuesday, and the revelers already celebrating Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Check this out. This year, though, weather is canceling some events and has even postponed a few parades. Security has been stepped up after the New Year's Day car ramming attack. Many officers and National Guardsmen can be seen up and down Bourbon Street today. That said, again, they're still having a good old time with a lot of colorful characters out there enjoying themselves.
Apparently Sarah has a bunch of beads that she needs to bring us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't say how I got them.
Yeah.